See ya. Hey, welcome everybody, and welcome to the afternoon show. The big desk. The funny, these are exactly, I mean, you're talking about identical. The two trading desks are absolutely identical. And big shout out to Randy for doing that for us, because what I love about it is he made sure it's stain resistant, so when I spill coffee and tea, it's all good. But before we get into things, gotta give a big shout out to one of our viewers, Lava Girl, who came through, hand-delivered from Japan all of these different, and these are all different types of Kit Kat. So you got matcha, you got peach, you got melon, here a couple of melon, banana. This is the one that I'm kind of gearing up for. I know you're gonna open, I'm going for the sugar butter tree. That's where I want to roll. See, sugar butter tree. So shout out to Lava Girl for that. We appreciate all of our viewers. I don't even understand why Ramin is taking all of them. That doesn't even make any sense right there, but okay. And she gave us sweet potato crackers. That's fine. Those are pretty good too, Ramin. So I got mine.
She crazy, man.
Oh, just tax right there, tax.
This girl do anything to get on camera. You know this Ramin girl? Man, this matcha is pretty good. I like that. Thank you, Lava Girl.
These are delicious.
All right. Well, look, yesterday at this time, the Fed was just coming out. We knew it was going to be a rate cycle cut. We knew the cycle was starting. Sat here and talked about how this is great news for tech names. That's pretty good. Yeah, yesterday at the close, somebody asked me in the chat, lots of people asked me in the chat, are we going to be going long or short? What do we think is going to happen tomorrow? I almost said, like, despite closing at lows yesterday, whenever you close at lows, told you, she loves TV. Like, she could have just said, guys, pass me that, but you know, you got to get on screen there. Yeah, no, she didn't bolt you right here. She's gonna get on screen again.
I didn't really get these this time.
And we were talking about buying these dips, you know, and that's that today. Congratulations, anybody that did that. I mean, it's not easy to do that. It's hard to step inside and make those kind of calls and make those kind of plays. So I think it's congratulations to anybody that did it. It's one thing to make the calls, another thing to put the trades on. So all of you guys are the real ones. We don't have any even short ideas on our sticky note today. Long Alibaba, long Google, long Amazon, long Tesla, long Palantir. I mean, the trade that was missed today out of all of them, I'm gonna have another matcha thing. Those things are really small.
No, I'm gonna switch it up, but so the problem, no. I wanted to try the matcha. Oh, thank you.
What was that, matcha?
Well, she took them away, and this is the one that I wanted.
The matcha's right here, though. Oh, there's two matchas.
Oh, are these different? Hang on.
No, they're the same.
You sure? Let me just double check.
Uji matcha?
It says, yeah, it's the same.
They're the same.
Okay, you've already opened this one, so.
Yeah. Don't give that one to Ramin because he's going to take it. Yeah. I want to try the cantaloupe ones. Oh, I told you, put these over here, man. He's going to come and steal these. All right, so.
You're like my brother, man. Len would do that the same way, dude.
Yeah,
same way.
Yeah, well, I know how Ramin rolls. So
you can tell older brothers, eh?
The missing trade right here today was this 235 long on Tesla. It was the only break trade that we had, and now it's up huge as everyone's talking about robo-taxi madness. So up 7%. I mean, it's one of the best days in Tesla's recent history, I would think, on no news. I mean, it looks like we got a nice little bump up right there. That was significant as well. 217 up to 226. So that's a great move. But just from yesterday, 227 up to 243 continues to work it out. Which flavor was that one?
She's giving us back to banana. No, I'd try anything.
I mean, of course, we're going to be trying them all.
The matcha's very good.
I mean, anybody that knows anything, what are the good ones? Like, what are the favorites here for this? I mean, the matcha and banana. Okay, yeah, so that's okay. So we got to hit that banana up soon.
I need to get some extra calories because I have physio today.
Yeah. Get some extra calories up in there. All right. So anyways, at the end of the day, man, Tesla continues to work it out. Breaking through this 235. I mean, how great was that? Those are those trades that we like to look for every single day. Just missed right there. There's the break. Next level for Tesla is 250. It's going to hit that tomorrow. We talked about, yesterday we talked about Meta. And I was like, Meta's going to hit 565 or whatever that high was, 540. I don't know, whatever that
545.
was. Yeah, I mean, there it is. Now you're at 560. I mean, these markets are absolutely haywire, and good for them. I mean, good for the markets. Continues to make huge moves to the upside right now. Everything going, man. The NASDAQ, the last time we had that test, last time NASDAQ was at 3% and held it. I can't remember the last time we closed above 3%. So I would say right now it's a great day. Let's see if we can continue to hold. We're well above 20,000. I mean, S&P 500, like everything's at highs, like everything right now, market related. So S&P continues to go. We know the NASDAQ's not at all-time highs, but getting awfully close now as we look. So lots of individual names out there to trade, lots of opportunities today to look at. So we'll just continue doing what we're doing here. We're short Google, though, right now. It's the only position we're short. We've been talking about that short the whole midday show when everyone was asking me what we're doing. This is what we were doing until it broke. Then we didn't have that many shares left. So we let it go upside, and then we just got short into here again, brought it all the way back, now trying to break back a little down. So, hey, if the NASDAQ does end up below 3%, Google will be lower than where it is right now. So I'm happy holding on to this one. Google, we'll take a bid at 01s. It's 25 cents in the money right now. Well, if we get those 01s, 20 cents now. We'll see if we can get that, then we'll hold the rest. But so far, so good here for GOOGL.
Yeah, I mean, so far, so good for the markets. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure the last time we were already at a 3% day going into the afternoon, we didn't get any extra push. That said, the last time we were at 3%, we weren't just coming off a 50 basis point cut the day before. So it's obviously going to be a little bit different. And shout out to Chris, as we were mentioning, the only thing that was going to turn me bearish was, and we talked about the Qs and the SPY at the high and the Qs at the 50. And yesterday, the Qs, the bottom for the last couple of days has been the 50 period on the daily. So you came in and the 50 period was a complete afterthought, which meant it was a long today. Had for some reason we'd gapped underneath the 50 period on the Qs. We're looking for things to fade, but no, we didn't. We went to the upside. I did have a short on the tape, and it was Intel, and we talked about the level. I was not at my desk when it got up to this triple top. I wish I could say that I was, but I was on the phone and doing some exercises and missed the opportunity because Intel did go all the way up to the same high, the same as yesterday's high. It got right there pretty much to a wick, maybe crossed it by a cent or two, and then came back into the downside. I'm in Amazon because it was just a VWAP play here on Amazon. Like when I sat back down, you look at the things that were pretty much at the same levels before I had taken a call. I was in an Amazon short, and I came back, and it's like, okay, things are bouncing back higher, but Amazon's at the same high. And what's different about this is as the market's making fresh highs, Amazon broke it out at the open, then failed back in. It did double bottom, but then lower highs off that double bottom. So it's managing to not go with the market. I feel like if it gets above 190, it's probably going to join this party, and the party is... it's not stopping. AMD seems like it wants 160. I never did find my way back into that one as it's just booming to the upside. Nvidia is a little bit different where it's consolidating off the top. Remember that 120? Nvidia can't break 120 right now. It gets up into the high 119s. You see the difference between Nvidia and AMD. AMD was in the morning, it was just cleared out above the previous day highs, whereas Nvidia needed to break the previous day's highs and those levels that we're working off of. So I see ZBOP. Short term, we have earnings in October and Robotaxi, I think, on the 13th. The Tesla Robotaxi event is the 10th. So we're waiting for the 10th on Tesla, and then their earnings are the 16th. So it's the 16th for earnings on Tesla, and then the 10th for the Robotaxi event. So those are the big. Tesla's going to be probably outside of on Friday. You've got Palantir and Dell going to S&P 500. You've got index rebalancing. You got triple witching on Friday, and then when we start to early October the 1st, we've got SMCI with its split, and after that we're going to have double barrel Tesla in the middle of the month. I think for some pretty decent catalyst. Right now we're kind of enjoying the ride as a little bit of a pullback happening. My bidding 189s here on Amazon. I think I want to I want to get into Intel, actually, if we're going to accelerate to the downside. Yeah, missed opportunity on Intel, but I want to join this party. This loses VWAP.
Google with me.
We're going to be shorting this bad boy.
Google
but
and don't worry about it.
Amazon working down. The ES starting to pull back in here. Obviously, the NASDAQ starting to roll over. And we just saw Nvidia once again lose that top as well. So market's starting to come back in here.
Obi's getting frustrated, and I was just like, dude, just short Google with me, man. I mean, we're short at 163.25s. And we were short this the whole afternoon. Was talking to him the whole afternoon, and there it comes in right now. So see you later, Google. Hopefully you can come back in even further than where we go now. Look at this market dripping just a little bit lower. We will have Raider Trader coming on very, very soon. We'll talk to him about all of this. I know that I don't think he was thinking that the market would be back to all-time highs, but we'll ask him what he thinks now of the market. Andrew Raider.
Oh, he's here.
Oh, he's here right now?
I see you in the chat, Andrew.
Oh, he's in the chat. Okay.
No need to fear. Raider is here.
Yes, yes. Is that what he said?
That's what he just said. So
join the green room then, my guy. We'll bring you on right now immediately.
Yeah, come on.
And we can have this guy in because a lot of us have fear, but if Raider's here, then we have no more fear. I mean, yesterday we were 8 for 8 on our trade. So Raider, if you come on and I have a losing trade, get this kid off right now. All right. So right now, Google 30 cents in the money. We'll take another bid down here. You might as well. We're just putting up numbers again here today. I hope everyone's enjoying what we're seeing so far. It's been a great day. And we said that any day that ends in Y that we're sitting here on the desk seems to be one that is a good one.
If a day ever doesn't end in Y, we got problems.
Yeah, we do. Or if I'm not here, also potential problems. Okay, so Mara right now. Look, Mara was one of those ones that we could talk about crypto. We'll probably wind up doing that at some point here, but this was like a short there. We got it back, and then eventually it broke higher. So we'll be down on that. I should be down on Mara today. This will be one of our red names. That's it. Google, we'll talk about, and Google. We're in Google now, but we had some bad trades early on. We'll discuss all of those in just a couple seconds. But Mara's been pretty flat. That's end of the day what I want to get at. 1580 there, bottom. That was a nice top to be able to see that if you were able to. Up there at 1620. I think that could have been something that once it was basing out, you would have had an indication for a little bit lower there. But with crypto where it's at 63.6, I mean, it's moving, man. Nice higher highs here as we go for crypto. I mean, it looks like we're going to try to break 64 and then get going off of that. Palantir, I know Adair was looking at this one. We already crushed. I mean, this is the second P&L. This is the second biggest P&L name for the show today is Palantir. And it was real early, man. It was just boom like that. We took some shares. We were nervous about it. But see what I'm talking about with Mara? Palantir came into an area that had been here before and bought right back up. So we're able to do that there on Palantir, find a level and get involved. That's kind of why that one was a winner. Apple, I mean, let's put it up for Apple today. Apple was a good one, man. I mean, it could have been infinitely better, of course, but you see here, it just kept on breaking 37. 27, able to get some out to the upside, came back in, stopped out, broke again, stopped out again. And then that last time we had it, and we had it pretty good. And then we also had the reload right there. So we're cooking up some profits for sure on Apple. Dip buys into 227, bought off VWAP in a nice trade to the upside here as we just hover around days high now for Apple, 229.50. Yeah, I don't have I'm going to try to be patient again here. I mean, Affirm, we talked about how much that was running today. You're only in Amazon, which I've been in today, and that's a flat trade for me today with too many executions on Amazon. We definitely liked buying these dips there, and I still think I like the name. It was the number one name for me today, and it was the 190 break. So it was right there. That's what we took. That was great. And we actually got out of a lot of it before it came back in. Then we tried it one more time there and got out, tried again and got out. So that's why we're pretty much flat. We had 2 attempts here at 189 and change before eventually dropping it, making some back, and then just too many executions. I can't even really discuss it. I like what you have there. I think that's similar to our Google. It's trying to get that short rate there.
What's so frustrating is right.
JT.
So I had orders out on DJT, and I was in the stock pretty much the entire day, and I had to get up. It is what it is. I had to reschedule my follow-up with my surgeon, and if you know Canadian healthcare, the guy's in the hospital once a week, and he's in the he's only available to see patients outside of surgery once a week. So I'm on the call trying to figure stuff out. I get stopped out. Didn't really have an opportunity to get back in, but I should have. When I sat back down, I could have just hit the bid. DJT So, okay, for anyone, if you weren't paying attention this morning, we probably said it a few times. The lockup expires today, although there was an article or two that said tomorrow. For the most part, we saw that the lockup expires today. So I was sitting in it off of VWAP, and there's not really a good reason not to have executed back in underneath VWAP here at the 15 level, and now you're starting to see it roll over. I was asked, where's the bottom going to be for DJT? I can tell you that the pre-market low was 1440. But what are you supposed to say for technical levels when it's already broken the bottom? All you can ever say is, like all former and types of SPACs, as you mentioned, Sean, like you can $10 makes sense to me, but that's about it. Like there ain't going to be no other lows. It is what it is.
This is what we're doing, man. Talking about trading and putting it on and putting more on and putting more on so we don't look like a moron. Nice move to the downside right now for Google. Bang. We're the real ones here. What's up to Raider Trader? He's going to be coming on right now. He recognizes real trading. Look at this move. Nice move on Google. Look. We say this all the time. You don't need to be sitting here guessing stuff, man. Just trade what you do best. I already know what we do best, man. We sit here and we put on names, we put on trades, and we believe in them. And that's exactly what's happened right here. One more time for us on this Google trade. I mean, look at this. Let it go. Let it go. Like, what are we, Elsa over here? Comes all the way to the upside. Then we short it and bang, right there, back in again. Like, I know there's... You know, shout out to Lars and everybody at Campus Trading over there. You know, as soon as the show's over, I'll come help that program out. But right there, look at this move. 163.20 to the downside. Bang, right there. So many plays today have worked out almost perfectly as we continue to go. So let's just keep the good vibes going here. Nice trade there on Google as it just comes in. Take advantage of these dips, man. I mean, that's a big trade right there. I know Obi, my guy over here, has a big one on. He was getting excited as well for that. So let's go, man. Real traders unite. This is what we're talking about one more time here. That's a doozy of a trade. Believe that. Average in off that, boom, right there. Good trade for Google. We'll make some back of what we did in the morning. And this is what we did this morning. We had this 162. We were playing it off the 200 period. This is what I'm saying. It's not disastrous, but it broke twice. We had the long win, break, long again, break. So we actually took an L right there off the open. But since then, these are longs. These are shorts. Flip it up, man. Change up your position every once in a while, and you should be rewarded if you get that feeling of the market. But you have to have those spidey, you have to have those spidey senses, man. You have to be able to think about what the market's doing and then trying to go for it. There's one thing about saying, like, I'm going to look back at my trades and analyze them. But the thing is, when you do that, that's great. But what are you actually changing? Are you doing something different the next day? You could backtest all you want, but are you still putting up winners the next day? Because then if you change your style, okay, once you're trading, you got to stick with what you're doing, but at the same time you have to know when it's right to strike, right? And so I think that's something that's very, very important, and we all got to learn that as traders. And I think that, like, yesterday was a good example. We made a decent amount of money during Fed, but it was just so choppy, right? That could be an easy way for you to get chopped up and throw some money back. We were lucky enough to have a lot of those moves right there, but this is what you do. You stick with stocks that you believe in, you stick with setups that you believe in, and you put the trades on. I'm not afraid to say the last time I journaled was never, but at the same time, I'm here every single day live in the markets, watching these things, making down little notes and believing in the notes. I come in early and I look at charts, and it's not even that early. Come in, look at charts, have a quick couple ideas of what I want to do, write them down, make sure they're justified, and go for it. And I think that's something that's important, that everybody sticks with their routine, has their routine. And then at the end of the day, I'll sit here and disagree with everybody anyways. This is about P&L. That's really all that it's about. That's what we're trading for, is to put money, in the account, build that account, and get bigger and better. And when we've been here for 20 plus years, just like Sharif's been here for 4 years plus, Obi here, I think 4 years. Well, I mean,
I wasn't even born 20.
Yeah. 2 years for Obi, 4 plus years for Sharif, 20 plus years for us. It is about the P&L. That's all that it's about. So I hope that you guys are doing really well, trading really well. And speak of the devil right now, we have something with Neil.
Yes, sir. And This segment, which will be the Raider Trader segment, brought to you by Trade the Pool, our friends at Trade the Pool, because becoming a funded trader means trading with the firm's capital instead of your own. At Trade the Pool, you first complete an evaluation by hitting profit targets while managing risk. Once you pass, you get access to up to $260,000 in buying power. You keep up to 80% of your profits while the firm covers the risk. It's the perfect way to trade big without risking your own funds. Ready to become a funded trader? Join Trade the Pool. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description of this stream. So shout out to Trade the Pool. And like all trading, the thing about it too, right? Like whether you're trading, you could be a retail trader, home trading your own capital, and then maybe you have your bankroll, you take a bit out to pay yourself. When you're a prop trader, you're trading the firm capital, you get a commission, and then every single month, like you get paid out. It's the same principle at the end of the day. That said, when you have a structured program, it can help. That's why we talk a lot about the campus program. But you know what? Who's ready? I know he's already in the chat, and he's locked and loaded and ready to go. It is Raider Trader Andrew Raider, one of our good friends. There he is.
No need to fear. Raider Traders here, everyone.
You got to wear the Superman thing,
went
man.
Way up there. The fear gauge just
look at the
way
VIX spike. I don't know.
Look at this guy. He's got some gold around your neck there. You should sell that stuff. It's at all-time highs right now.
I could probably buy the same one twice over, but
I like that. Is that a haircut you got on there? I like that.
I told my barber, "Hey, Unc, chop me up," and
looking
that's what happened,
sharp, bro. Looking sharp, man. Don't take this kid around town, man. He's Mr. Steal Your Girl over there. All right, hey, what a nice move it was yesterday, right,
Yep.
Andrew? In the from 2 o'clock, like right now. Imagine this time yesterday. Wild stuff. You have any trades going on there? Did anything catch you by surprise? Anything we want to talk about before we get into maybe trading today? How was yesterday for you?
Oh, yesterday was kind of slow. Actually, this week, a lot of my positioning was done earlier in the week. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday was just me cutting positions. A lot of people, they get caught in these news events. They, they try to predict, 25, 50, which one's it going to be, and try to determine how that's going to affect the market. Well, I was just mainly focused on the quad witching date and positioning for that. I caught Tesla. I swung into today, but also Solars Wednesday I caught, as well as some other ones. So small caps as well.
Is it? Are we going long on Tesla? I mean, is that something that I'm thinking about too? Breaking that 235 level there on Tesla, or was it 255? 235. The 235 level there on Tesla. How good was that on the daily? Is that something that sparked you to get in, or are you trying to get in before the robo-taxi event?
So I actually got a little lucky swinging that from yesterday. I think my calls were up 1,200% this morning. It was by far my biggest trade of the week, but it was one of those that I didn't plan for. Not my biggest position size, but definitely the biggest winner when it comes to these trades. But I do have, it's tradition at this point that Raider comes on, he spills a little bit of, something out there. So if you don't mind, I actually have some things to talk about, specifically with the markets in the future, of course. I never talk about the past as much as the future because that's where the money is made, baby. But as far as what I think about the markets moving forward, there's a lot of discussion, a lot of rumors going around. Hey, what's going to happen with the markets moving forward? Firstly, I want to start with this. The rest of this week is probably going to be pretty slow. And if you want to share my screen real quick, the bias is actually to close under 520. Tomorrow is historically one of the most red days, not by percentage-wise, but by statistically probable red days from the seasonal standpoint. So expect to close under 520 tomorrow. Will it be that big of a red day? Probably not, but that's the bias for tomorrow. But next week is when I actually expect some of that selling pressure to pick up, specifically in the defensive names. I've been talking about long defensives for a good amount of months now, but I actually like KIE short, which is into October 18th, which is actually insurance. Insurance seasonally does pretty horrible after the first rate cut. But after that, we also have things like XLU, consumer staples, Coca-Cola. These guys are going to start to struggle into the end of September. So expect that next week. Now, also, I do want to talk about this. This is everyone wants to talk about this, which is the recession trade. Everyone's been talking about, hey, the 10 minus the 2, inversion. When in reality, what I actually look at is the 10 minus the 3 month. I believe this is a more credible window and gives a tighter time frame when we can actually expect some sort of recession theme to come back into play, trade gold, trade these other names. And so far, we have not, on the 10 minus the 3, have any real development. So until that comes around, I'm not going to be worried about the recession trade. Again, once it does invert, that's when you see a 6 to 8 month window, somewhere around there, when you typically get one. But that's the 10 minus 3. Also, for all you bears in town, well, good news to you, because next week is probably going to be your time to short. With all the puts in the system developed from quad witching, well, it's too stacked. So a market can't drop if everyone's hedged. But that's it. That's all I have to talk about right now. A little hints here and there. I can talk about some more, of course. Sean, Neil, and I we have master degrees in yapping, and that's a good degree to have under your belt, you know? So,
well, it's important when you're sitting there talking stocks all day long. But
gotta do something.
look, if next week you're looking at some shorting, or the bears may be coming back into play next week, as you were sort of mentioning, how much of that do you think has to do with, look, on witching? Whenever we have a rebalancing like we do at the end of this quarter, a lot of times you'll have all these big buyback names in the Mag 7, which will often have down weighting because of what's happened in the last couple of quarters. And there are some situations, even if it ends up a short next week in a general sense, where if you do get that down weight and they sell off on a Friday after an index rebalance, then the Monday kind of tends to be like a bit of like a reversal for anything that sold big on the imbalances. So do you factor any of that into your trading? Because I know from experience, if you get extreme moves on a Friday, on a witching, on a rebalance day, usually I don't necessarily want to get trapped looking in the same direction as what happened with that move. I'll anticipate that maybe you'll have a bit of a reversion on that Monday as a bit of a self-correction, and then be more patient. Does that factor at all into looking shorts? And specifically, where would you be looking short?
Yeah, so that's actually a great point, and I'm glad you brought that up, because the expectations of this year is not a 10 to 15% point drop from the high here. That is not the expectations so all these people betting on some monster crash, trying to get real philosophical with rate cuts, it's just not the reality of it. The maximum drawdowns are between 5 and 7% max, likely for the rest of the year and early start of the next year. So that's the expectation. You're absolutely right that these traps are going to be common. The dips will be bought, and that's just because we are at all-time highs. A lot of people forget that market dynamics do change at all-time highs. While there is corrections from all-time highs, that's not the dynamic we're at right now. And so the bullish trade, while it might not be the overall market, as you said, especially I don't want to get trapped shorting these mega caps, even though they are the weaker names like Microsoft. I'm going to be taking this change in market dynamic from now, September to late October, is when you want to take days day by day. Swing trading is going to be somewhat punishing, but you have to be very select with what you're longing, what you're shorting, because a lot of the other stuff is just going to be bought up, sold. It's just going to be pretty bad to trade. But what I'm actually long into December is actually IWM. So I'm going to be positioning to 12-20 calls on IWM. I believe there will be a bigger breakout later in October. But that's where I'm starting to position now for that. But yeah, absolutely. When you mentioned that Friday, Monday continuation thing, it's very important to understand the risk to reward that, especially when, for example, when the VIX spikes a ton. When we consider, hey, what's the best trade? Is it shorting? Well, I'm paying $2, over what I would have paid last week if I shorted. Is it actually worth the theta decay and the time that I'm going to be holding for the move not to come, and then I lose 100% just from it not moving, right? So that's 100% something I always take into consideration. And right now, the risk to reward is not there to swing in a lot of the major sectors. And so what's going to have to be is day-to-day trading like you guys do.
Yeah, and I think that, look, that's what we definitely love. With regards to IWM, I was a little disappointed today in IWM. It was a really good, I mean, obviously, hit long anything right at 2 o'clock and you would have won. No, it was a very good initial move up. It gives it all back pretty much almost to a T where we broke out from. And then today, I would have expected with a pullback essentially perfectly to the prior day, like before Fed highs, and then holding this 222, I was expecting that maybe we'd be able to break back out the 225 today with that kind of a V shape. The fact that it stalled out, I know you're sensing a little bit of opportunity there. I feel like it just needs to retake that top. The resistance has been there the entirety of the day. And there's a few names that have looked like this where you've gotten some strength, and it's not like it's bad. No one's going to complain about being up 2 points. I think it's ridiculous to complain about being up 2 points. But when you see the strength that everything else has had, I'm not all that excited when we can't get past this 225. Do you have any concerns, or what is the timing for this to work for you on the Russell?
So that's a great point. So actually, Tesla typically actually leads the charge on this stuff. I think it was last June. If you actually go look at Tesla, Tesla was actually the one who actually led the huge breakout into late June. It was actually a warning sign that, hey, you better get into these the rate sensitive names, solar, small caps, things like that, that are going to benefit from the rate cut. So that's actually when majority of the rotations came, was actually last June in anticipation of the September cuts. But you're absolutely right. That relative weakness is kind of concerning. It is up 2%, but then again, that's all from the gap, and it's starting to give that away intraday. It's not very exciting, but I believe a lot of that is attested to the quad witching and just the way down and sluggishness from the market. Once I think all the money expires from Friday, I think moving into next week, you could expect drawdown again. I'm positioning to December contracts. I haven't added my full position size yet, but I ultimately do, like you said, want to see that gap up above the highs, back towards I believe it was the August highs, July highs, late July highs, back up there at 226, somewhere around there.
No, absolutely. I like that point about Tesla. So step one's happened, right? Because Tesla's certainly leading everything today. I mean, you can throw out some names like, I guess, what Darden might be up percentage more because they had earnings, but out of the big boys, it's been a Tesla and an AMD kind of day there. Just before we sort of move on, I know we'll go back to Sean here for a quick little second, but every single time any meme stock comes up, everyone's like, when is AMC going to break out? And I'm like, it's longer, and I feel like my feeling on it is the longer something coils, the better it can be. So it's still coiling. Like it's still coiling. Is it
coil, man?
Is this the kind of thing where? But when I mean coiling, for anyone out there that isn't familiar with it, right? Like this is what the stock is doing. And it's not often that you get something which can have explosive moves that goes sideways this long in a it's actually decreasing in volatility. Like it's contracting a lot here. And I keep looking at the 50 period. I'm like, the next thing this closes above the 50 period moving average, like it has to be a shot long. So do you have any thoughts on this? Because there's some names that did try to go. Like, I mean, Carvana actually went a little bit here. Obviously, it's a different story, but what are your thoughts on these? Because I always say when the market's booming, it's not the best time for the memes. And when the market isn't giving those opportunities, sometimes you get more attention in these types of names. So I don't think it bodes well necessarily that everything else that we love is going when you're trying to get a meme stock to break out.
With a lot of those meme stocks, I think a lot of how I trade them at least is everything's about timing. If the market's not in the mood to pump these smaller cap names, things like that, they're not going to do it. And when it does come around like GME, AMC, all these guys, it's generally a market theme that they also pick up other squeeze names as well. So especially with the like AMC, when it's barcoding like that, or I forget what the term you used was, squishing, something like
barcoding is
contracting,
right.
barcoding.
Yeah, right. So when you have that, a lot of people look to technicals for guidance, when in reality it's all about timing. Because as you've seen, every time you try to play the break, it's just no. So I actually think majority of the times when you contract this much, if you want to get that huge move to the upside, a lot of the times you'll actually see a fake out to the other direction first. So preferably what I would want to see is a fake out to the downside before earnings and then a huge run up into earnings. Not that earnings is going to be like the be all end all, right? Like we don't expect AMC to come out with 40 new stores, record revenue. We're not expecting that. So earnings doesn't really matter. But what matters is the run up into earnings and if it can cause a squeeze of some sort.
There you go. I like it. One of my favorite setups. There's nothing better than when you want to go one way and the market traps people the other. Yep. It's not about cheering for other people to lose money. It's just how it works. You know, if you stop some people out of their longs and you get some people into some short positions, and that's where you get your profit because as they exit, you're winning.
As Andrew was saying that, this might be a good market for us day traders. So right here, Andrew, we got a chicken dinner winner. Right now, there goes Google down 70 cents in the money. We'll see if we can get a play off that one. Andrew, what was going on with this name? This is a name that I think you and I have talked about a couple times, both on the market recap show and here, XLE. Like, what was up with this? Someone sneezed and this thing is up now 6 or 7 days in a row. What a V-shaped recovery here for some of these oil names in the oil sector. Anything you're looking at as far as energy is concerned? You still like XLE a little bit? You like anything else in here? Individual names? Are we in the right season now? I know you talk a lot about seasonality. What are you thinking about the energy space here, particularly oil?
Yeah, so that's a fun trade. Energy as a whole, I've been looking at for a few weeks now. I've even been talking about it. I'm like, hey, you know, when is this thing going to pump? It actually was, my timeline was somewhere between the 16th and the 23rd. I actually nailed that pretty well. So I actually caught some longs in energy. I would stick to XLE and oil production names. Don't go to oil services like OIH. Stick to XOP or XLE. Those are the two best. I had CVX personally, which is doing all right, but not my biggest trade of the week. But yeah, I think a lot of these. So actually, I do want to talk about this. This is a good segue. Thank you for the segue, Sean.
You're welcome.
But as far as what I do want to talk about to everyone is that there will be a reinflation trade soon. A lot of people, you know, they're taking their eyes off inflation. What I say with every market, inflation always rebounds. That's just a natural thing. And you're going to be wanting to try to play this. Will this be October or November? It's going to be before the end of the year, most likely. But there will be a inflation rebound trade. And this is going to be picking up names like, you know, of course, gold, things like this, commodities, materials. I actually think moving forward into the end of the year, the next few weeks, XLI, a lot of these industrials will be outperformers, as well as some of the material names like XLB holdings. So definitely be looking into those. The inflation trade is going to come back. Will it be, oh, the market's going to collapse because inflation is spiking? No, but it's going to be a rebound in inflation that changes expectations, and that's ultimately going to cause a rotation in the markets.
I got you. Why so specific there? You said September 16th to the 23rd. Was there something that indicated that? Was it sort of a pre-Fed sort of build up there, expecting the 50 basis points? Was there anything about that particular week and a half there that indicated this move? I mean, because we're here to give you that credit. You're 100% right. That XLE is a huge move up there. Why this week? Was it Fed-based or?
So this is it's mainly seasonal based, actually. So I built all these expectations from both the seasonal, but also the option outlook. So a lot of my research comes in, hey, you know, can we build an expectation for this week, and this week? And based off seasonals, last week was really when you wanted to long the leaders, get into, you know, of course, home builders, things like that. These type of names were starting to do really, really well, especially IWM and mega caps. And then this week, between the 17th, or I said 16th to 23rd, 17th to 23rd, this was actually when you wanted to long the most beaten down names. So the names that were not necessarily at zero, but the names that were not picked up initially with the leaders. And so I actually caught trades in Moderna this week, but also I think it had a 9% day on Monday or Tuesday, which I caught. And then also names like, you know, a lot of small caps, IWM, those were beaten down over the last few weeks and things like that. So that's how I positioned with those. And energy was one of those. It's been kind of slaughtered since the beginning of the month. So that's just something I caught. And so moving into next week, the expectation is actually to sell the names that did not outperform this week. So the names that did not perform the most, you're actually going to want to short those into next week. And those are names like KIE, home builders, and these type of names. So be looking for that into next week. Those are going to get sold off the hardest.
That's the kind of stuff I like, relative strength and weakness.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Look, we give you a lot of credit. Congratulations on that Tesla trade, 100%. But tell us something about this Samsara, this IoT. Now, I know last time you were on here, look, I'm not going to be here like saying, you know, crazy, because it was right here. It was falling knife. Then all of a sudden earnings came and obviously they beat expectations. We got to give you props for at least making a call on something. So I definitely give you that. A lot of people don't want to stick their neck out and make a call like this. You did. So good, great look, but nice upside move. How do you play something like this? Was it like short-term puts that you had? Did they just expire out of the money? Break us through how you play maybe earnings plays as opposed to something like Tesla, where you're playing the momentum, riding that up. And you said 1,200%. I mean, that's fantastic. But obviously IoT there, a different play heading into earnings. You want to explain sort of how those mechanics work for you? Earnings plays versus a more traditional, maybe seasonal play or a feel on a momentum name. You want to explain a little bit of that?
Yeah, so a lot of the trades that I take on earnings, number one, there is no like be all, there's no perfect strategy to earnings.
Right.
What it is you want to find a name that can move. You don't want to go to a stock that's illiquid. You don't want to go to a stock, so you narrow it down between certain things. Intel was one. I think some of my more recent trades, I did not actually trade Nvidia because that was an example, the last earnings, that the expectations were so high that if you don't meet them, even if you correct the right direction with an options trader, you're going to lose money. And so that's just because of volatility crush and, hey, you didn't make that 10% expectation. You maybe said 6% like we saw. Everyone lost money, bears and bulls regardless. So there's some strategies with that, playing the continuation. IoT was actually, I straddled the 35 call, 35 put. With that, I barely made money with that. I actually think I closed red after the spreads were insane at the morning. Right. But that was just something that was silly, something with that. But again, that had the potential to move, and that's why I did it. But more so along the lines, IoT was actually a name that I knew could move, because remember me coming on here, I talked a lot about you want to get into IPO names, 52-week high names, things like that. Well, I knew those would move. I actually thought it would actually go nuclear to the downside. But regardless, one of the names one of my favorite names actually that we talked about that's going nuclear right now for my monthly contracts. I'm up well over 1,000% on this, but actually CART right now. So I'm actually going to sell these at the end of the day today. CART was a name that I mentioned. This was probably my biggest trade of the month into this month was CART. So one of the biggest trades. This thing, insane, man. I looked up this morning. I'm like, right before I got on there, I'm like, holy crap. But yeah, so a lot of these IPO names, 52-week high names, these are still going to do well, especially after this this rate cut as well. So be keeping an eye on those as well. But recent IPOs, 52-week highs, that was that kind of screener I talked about.
Yeah, good call on CART there. But you know what? When it's up 5% and there isn't a red day in a week and a half, we can call it by the actual name. We're supposed to say Maple Bear. So
Maple Bear.
No, this is, and look, Andrew,
What the hell is Maple Bear?
I am way too old for this. When
stock is called Maple Bear?
You try to change names when I'm used to it, and the ticker is CART. I'm gonna call it CART. It's like, you ever heard the old man? His mama called him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay, like Muhammad Ali. No, of course it is, but it's actually technically Maple Bear now. So just like Restoration Hardware and everything else, it will always be CART to me. But a great look, and as a matter of fact, at the high of the day today, which. Really, there's just a lot of things that are at the high of the day today, but there you go. Yep. Those IPOs, it's the thing. Like it's about finding the right place. If you're going to take a swing at something, you want to take a swing
and not miss.
Yeah, you want it to be a good pitch, but in the stock sense, like you want it to actually have the ability to move, right? Like if it's not going to do anything, then you don't want to be in it. Win or lose, it doesn't matter if there was no upside potential in the play.
Yeah, no, a lot of, especially like CART, IPO, these names, it's tricky to trade these sometimes, and you got to know when that risk to reward is diminishing. For me, a lot of times people ask me, when I do live streams or things like, I'm sure you guys get a lot of questions. It's all love, of course, but a lot of people ask, hey, what do you think of the stock up 400% today? It's like, well, what do I think? I'm not in it, so I can't, I'm not going to trade it, So that's kind of how it is with this CART. It's like you were either in it or you missed it. Time to move on to the next one,
How's the Mustang these days?
So it's funny you mentioned that. I'm going to pick it up today, which is awesome. I finally got it tuned.
Okay.
At 725 to the wheel. But I had a cold start issue. That's the whole reason I got it tuned. Because the supercharger, when it started, it was sucking in too much air. And so my engine would like turn off twice before I actually got it running. So, every time I sat down to drive it, alpha cold start, it'd be like, it'd like struggle to breathe. And then I have to turn it over 2 more times. But
is that what it would do? Is roughly those noises there?
Roughly, very active.
technical sound right there.
And what, it cost you $700 to fix it? That's not too bad. Is that what you said?
Yeah, no. Well, it made $725 to the wheel, but it was $550 to fix it. So it wasn't horrible.
All right.
Yeah, about 10 grand in Canadian, so that's fine.
Yeah, 10 grand Canadian.
14 grand in Canadian by next
year. You still got to let us know when you're coming up here. Now that car's all tuned up, drive it up here. You are more than welcome to join us at any time. Anything we didn't discuss before we let you go here, quarter to the hour?
No, but I will say this. I like to have this real, awesome motivational speech at the end. Just kidding. But I will say this to all you traders. The opportunity, the best ones, are next week. Okay, don't get all anxious. Tomorrow's it. Doomsday. Bears crawling out of their little den.
Doomsday, man. It ain't doomsday.
Get back into your little den. Get your cozy little blanket. It's time to rest up. Okay, let the bulls take it from here. Okay? Relax.
I think you're right. Andrew Rader, thank you so much. Thank you for the calming words. And if there was any fear, there is no more because Andrew Rader is here. So everyone can go find you at X, Raider Trader 101, on Instagram, Raider Trader, and the like. Where are you today? Is that a different spot for you or just different camera? What's the situation there?
So yeah, I've been kind of moving my camera around, but I'm currently in my apartment. So I will drive back today. I got a soccer game today. I've had an athletic addiction recently to my glory days, if you will, of playing soccer. So I'm getting back into soccer.
Before you get out of here, now I'm just going to be nosy and ask, is that like a little balance wheel back there?
Yes.
Hold on.
That's one of the what do they call, what's the name of this thing? The one wheel. Yeah. I'm just nosy, that's exactly all. That's what I thought it was.
It can go forward.
Yeah.
I'm just glad this dude's
Don't wipe out.
I mean, I'm just glad he's got pants on.
Yo, if he bails and gets hurt, it's all on me because
Yo.
It's not shorts. It's not shorts. Also, I don't want to see a single comment about my shorts. They're called shorts. If they were meant to be long, they would be called longs. Okay.
Oh, those are called short shorts. It's like you really like the short and you're going short. You know, it's like short shorts. It's like
I'm not gonna say anything.
Those are like put option shorts. No. You know, they're.
No hate, man. There's
People
no
like
hate.
them, though. People like the legs, man. They like the legs. Like I said, I'm just glad you were wearing shorts, because imagine you weren't. You would have got up there. It would have been bye-bye, Raider Trader. Thank you, Andrew. Have a good one. Charge that bad one up. Good luck with your soccer.
Thanks,
That's
Andrew.
it. We done. Thank you, Mr. Raider Trader, for dropping down some of that cash and knowledge. All right. That was fun.
Always fun.
Always a good one there. Yeah. I was really, when he got up there were people in the chat like, I wonder if this guy's wearing pants. I was like, this is about to get ready to go here. And he did that. So thank you.
He's a wise young man. I would imagine he would be savvy enough to make sure that he is fully clothed, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Like, I was just like, yeah, is that what I think it is? I've always wanted to try one of those. Obviously, I'm not doing it anytime soon.
Yeah.
I would imagine, I don't think, sometime next year, maybe I could try something like that.
I'm still in constant pain. Like, I have my HTO on my knee, and I still can't do absolutely anything at all.
It's frustrating.
So I actually wish I tore my Achilles, to be honest with you. All right.
Trust me, you don't want
I do, bro.
It's the drive.
You can at least recover.
I can't drive.
I know, but nor could have I.
I'd rather...
And you're going to recover fully.
The best thing about an Achilles injury, and it's not the best thing, compared to, like, if you hurt your back, if you hurt your knee, shoulders can be, like, a big deal. Nowadays... You get the surgery, all these surgeons are all fantastic, right? Like it's so commonplace now. You put the work in, you're gonna get back. And as a matter of fact, I think the right is gonna be, like my right's gonna be better than my left. I just wish it hadn't have been my right. Because I can't, not being able to drive.
It's just costing so much money having to get you in here.
The frustration level, like I can't do things that I normally do for my daughter. It's just, my wife goes away on a trip. And, we got to get like an Uber if I want to take her somewhere. I can't just hop in the car and be like, hey, let's do this today. That's just annoying as all hell. Like, I like that freedom. Like, I cannot stand that lack of the freedom part. But it is what it is. Thank you so much for the super chats in here. DJ Freddie K. Thanks for asking about IoT.
You're welcome, my guy.
I don't believe if we got to this one, Kyle Burdett. Who wears shorts? Right. Thank you very much, Kyle.
Who wears shorts?
Daryl, we can always count on you. Of course we can. Why not?
He does look like Dan Bilzerian there. That is true. He has those Dan Bilzerian shorts. I don't know if he has DB money, though. That would be nice. Trust fund, baby.
I remember that song.
Okay, so just real quickly, we don't have a graphic for this yet, so I'm going to hit this. Money. Let's go find out who's making what money here at Real Trading. All right. I mean, so far, so good here. This is yesterday's top 10 top traders. We did show this earlier on in the day, but this is just a prop trading. These are prop traders here. We're going to go over them. We have over, I think it's 2,000 to 3,000 live traders right now. I'll double check that. Over 3,000 traders on the system, including sim modes and things like that here at Real Trading. 50 plus markets. I'll show the graphic in a second on that one. But yesterday's top trader made over 16,000. These are all US dollars. And these are the markets that they traded. So this is not, some people are asking about location and all that kind of stuff. This is just the top. So someone yesterday traded the Vienna market and made almost 6,000 US dollars, and that's the only market they traded. So that's what that means as an example. This individual trader like myself would have traded, like you'll see me on SPY or Qs or whatever. This is not me, but NYMEX, so someone trading oil names, gas names, things like that. So this trader definitely spreading it around. I mean, this is This is what trading's all about. You know, making sure that you find different opportunities. And obviously there's been some here, whether or not, I don't know exactly why you would branch it out like TSX Venture, CME. Like that's just a lot of different tools. But yesterday, a lot of things were popping off. Yep. This is more like somewhere where I'm more comfortable, where you trade CME, New York, NASDAQ, and NYMEX. And then there's Canadian again, Canada, NASDAQ, NASDAQ.
Well, Amex makes sense to have added because on a Fed day, that's the type of day that maybe you don't normally look at like a GDX or an IWM, but if you want to trade those, you got to go to the Amex, right? Like it's, we don't actually, like we don't have the futures for some of those things. So you probably, yesterday would have been a day that you'd see a few more people trading Amex. I don't really trade Amex very often, and IWM was that opportunity. That's the best thing about real trading. There's very few markets that are available to be traded for day traders that we don't have.
Yeah, almost none. I just think the Indian market, but Raheem talked about that already. There are some barriers to entry into the Indian market. And as long as there ain't that, we should be able to trade. And here's just an average. These are the top traders in individual markets yesterday as well that I had up on that screen. So let's compare your profits. This is a good one for that. You know, there, compare your profits right there. So we'll try to do that every single day to give you guys an idea of that. No, I was not on that list. But we did. I led the office yesterday. Was pretty proud of that. But yeah, not on that list. There are traders that are on that list quite frequently. But yesterday it was not I. All right. Did you say that was a call for Adara? Then
yes,
let's
sir.
go.
This part of the show is brought to you by Benzinga Pro. If you feel lost in the noise of the market, then you need Benzinga Pro. Benzinga Pro cuts through the clutter and gives you the insights you need to make smarter, faster trades. From real-time news to unusual options activity, we'll show you exactly what's moving the market and why. Don't miss out on your chance to trade like a pro. Visit benzinga.com/pro to start your free trial today.
I just offered. I was like, hey, Yobi, what one do you want to try here? I want to go with the banana. The matcha's. I've had matcha before. It's really good. Yeah, I'm going to try banana now. I did try melon, banana. I took the melon and the matcha so far. The melon is actually...
No, it's delicious. I'm going with the melon.
Is that one?
This is the melon. The melon's the best one.
It's, well, have you had them all? What, this one? Peach?
No, I haven't had the peach.
I just like the melon's very, very refreshing.
I'm going to bring...
That's the thing.
The peach I'm going to give to my daughter, because I had to make sure I bring her something home, because she loves peach.
I'm playing around.
So
Take whatever one you want.
Have whatever you want.
Because... She always, what is it? You never get the...
I don't get sarcasm.
Sarcasm, that's what it is. Yeah, we would not get
Don't tell people you don't get sarcasm.
That's literally why I just did that to her. That's literally why I just did it to her.
Thank you, guys.
And I saw her face go white, and I was like, okay, just take one. All right.
Exactly.
What did you take? Yeah.
Well,
so the
that's what we have the
tastes
most
a lot like...
I don't know if I want it.
There's something else that tastes... Oh, you know, it's just like a banana popsicle or something like that. I don't know what... Oh, yeah, maybe it tastes like banana. Yeah, maybe that's right. Yeah, so anyway, okay, so banana's my least favorite.
I'm going to stay away from the banana.
Yeah,
because I'm not a huge fan of banana flavored anything, to be honest with you. Banana popsicle, which Ramin is apparently a big fan of.
I don't mind the banana. If I had a freezy choice, I like white. You know, I really like the blue as well, but blue gets all over you. Like then you have a blue tongue and orange.
That's fine.
Cherry, no. I'm not a huge cherry guy, honestly. I don't mind if my wine has a little cherry.
I try to keep it real. I just want purple, not grape. Purple. You know what's up? You guys know that purple drink, purple popsicle. Doesn't even have to be grape. I'm just keeping it real. It is what it is. You can say anything.
But you can say that, but you don't keep it real because we have other examples of things you don't like that are typical of stereotypes.
Okay, here's my thing with that, because I can say it. I know you didn't want to, but I can say this all I want. This whole nonsense about like watermelon, get the heck out of here with this crap. Man, ain't no one in my family talking about watermelon is the best thing out there.
A lot of people in your family talk about watermelon. No,
not is their favorite. That's some.
I love watermelon. Watermelon. How are you hating on watermelon?
I'm not hating on it. Okay, I'm just saying there's a litany of fruit.
Okay. Right, it's not near the top.
It's just not even close to the top. Okay, every now and then in the summer, like that issue, yeah, fine, but I mean, come on. What are we even talking about there?
As far as summertime fruits, the watermelon is...
Fresh pineapple, bro. Like that.
Fresh pineapple is on pizza. Yeah,
kiwi.
On that one. The
mango
kiwi,
season.
mango.
Oh,
I mean, mangoes.
My uncle had...
What are we even talking about?
My uncle Michael, well,
There's
he
some
still
mango
has.
love
He has
over
a
there.
mango. He has some mango trees in Antigua.
Yeah, man.
And we used to stay back when mango season is in. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, straight up. And I didn't even care. Like until you're sick, till I'm sick.
I'd be sick of mangoes really quickly, I think. But mango is very sweet. That's all. I love
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. But I just think like
Oh yes.
every meal. All
Oh
right.
yeah.
Sean, I said something yesterday. Will be a yeah. I mean, what's up, Volcan? Let me see what Volcan is saying here because it looked like I was getting some credit. You know, I like that. All right, you said yesterday, today will be a strong, long day.
SEK.
Thank you for acknowledging that. You are correct so far. What's my view for tomorrow? Yeah, it's going to need to be a lot bigger super chat than that, my guy. I mean, we are on fire. No, I'm just playing around. All right, so what's my view for tomorrow? So this is the one thing is, you get, why am I still on IoT here? Okay, let me go over to Apple. All right, so this is the thing. We always have to think about what's leading the market, you know, and Apple leads the market quite often. And today we have a huge day for Apple. So I feel like there's a lot of love for a lot of names right now. We have Amazon trying to get higher, although there's some dipping down. We had Google trying to break out a little bit. We had FXI, some of the China names trying to battle back as well. Alibaba, we talked about, XPeng was up 9% today. Alibaba's huge. Alibaba's actually on our radar today as well, to have a quick look at that. So there are lots of things to trade today. FXI up 4%. Alibaba up pretty nicely today. We just saw XLE on quite the run. There's a lot of things making a lot of moves today. So I could see again, and by the way, I almost think we were even more, we were almost more right this morning than we can even take credit for, because we talked about earlier that there was going to be a little bit of a sell-off early on in the morning, and that's exactly what it did. It sold off into the 200 period. Like, that is gorgeous when that kind of stuff happens and you can nail that. So today, I feel like we even tweeted it out. We said that there could be an easy sell off the open with people coming in and taking profits. Actually, if we're going to look at a longer term scale here, on the TQs, even on a daily chart right here, you're getting close to breaking this level, $72, $73. I don't think we're going to get there today. There's only an hour left in the market. I mean, the last time we were up over 3% on the NASDAQ, I think we looked that up. I don't think there was one back into 20 or 2021 on a kind of one of those crazy bounce back days.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think we're going to be running into a little bit of resistance up here. So I could see tomorrow being like, not an inside day, but maybe up 1% or so. Let's see how we close. Let me answer that question a little bit closer to 4 way, get a
Part of the problem,
a better feel on it.
It's triple witching. It's also quarterly rebalancing. And you've got to keep in mind with quarterly rebalancing, when all the Mag 7, I mean, Meta's at fresh highs, Microsoft more buybacks, when you have all of that looming in, it's very typical that the reweighting on the big names is down weighting, right? So that kind of skews things specifically for tomorrow. And I think a lot of times, like that's what, like my first thought at the end of the day on that kind of a Friday is usually I'll lean towards, okay, if we've been up so much, then you're going to have some selling into the close on the Friday, especially on the quarterly rebalancing. Year end, probably even bigger deal. And then, of course, there'll be individual events to talk about there. Just speaking about some things here. Like while we were on with Raider, I did reload into Amazon at the lower high, actually not at the top, and then it came back out there. So a bit of a trail. Kind of if you're going to trail it out there, just kind of like add to the point that you're trailing. And if it goes down from there, you've reloaded it. But now it's right back up at the same resistance before, like that 189.75-ish. The actual high, like this top in here is like 189.86, and it just tagged 189, low 80s or so. But it's looking a little bit different. Notice the difference. It comes in here all strength, immediately makes a top, then puts in a lower high. Comes into the top this time, first time through, was already good before, looking good, lower high, done. Now it tags the top. This is where it needs to put in the lower high. So if I'm not in that trade, it needs to do the lower high part or the aspect of it and start to break down, which I'm not seeing happen on Amazon. It's a slight difference. It's not a gigantic one. But, Nick W., thank you for the super chat there. Could you give your thoughts on Marvell? Looking from extended time frame, it looks incredibly bullish. Well, my friend, what doesn't look bullish? And of course, you're talking about Marvell, the chip name, and not Marvel, which I don't know, they have some stuff coming out. I shouldn't make an Agatha joke, because there's like, I think it might actually end up being funny. I should watch it first and give it a chance. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not that excited when I watch the trailer. I think they've lost their way a little bit, but Marvell, I do like what I see here, but notice something on the weekly chart. Right, this is this is always very bullish. There's your curl off of the 50 and the 200 at the same time, then retrace to the 200 period, boom. Then it retraces to the 200 period on the weekly, again, boom. But you got this problem. The problem would be it's $80 on the weekly. The last time it tried to break out, it actually did, and then closed back underneath. Up here, you got to close above the 80 level. Otherwise, as a trade would go, usually you're taking profits at a level like this on Marvell. So yeah, I don't necessarily love it up here. To me, when it does this, either you like the stock and you're playing it off the 50 or the 200 on dip buys, or you're waiting for it to break out. I'm more of a joiner when it comes to breakout levels on names like this. I tend to really like joining the move as opposed to, hey, I think it might break out past this level that's been resistance for like 15 weeks in a row. Let's just go long right on the top. No, that's not ever my style. Not in Marvell. I have owned it in the past, but I'm not actually in the stock now. And Nvidia is the one I like better, but that 80 is what has to go.
Since Power Hour just started, remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss any action.
Yes, sir.
Good call, Fabian.
Thank you, Fabian.
So reminding us that it's Power Hour time.
It is Power Hour, and because it's Power Hour or the Hour of Power, remember everybody, hit the like, hit the subscribe. If you want to get our opinions on something or look at a stock maybe that we haven't paid attention to or just engage with the community, you need to be a subscriber to be in the chat. So you hit the subscribe, jump in while the water's warm. We have a great community in there. Bears versus Bulls is a fantastic moderator, keeping things in line. And if you get a super chat, we'll always get to it. We'll also try to get to as many questions as we can for sure. So someone just said, was there any news on Nike? I haven't heard any. Now that I think about it, I can't remember the last time I heard something out of my Benzinga.
I hear
But something happened on Nike on the chart, but I didn't hear anything. I don't know.
Dara's up there. If there's anything that happens, she will get it to us.
Okay. It was about a half an hour ago, though, when it moved.
Okay, so we haven't done much here, man. We're still short on Google. We're looking for more plays, right? I mean, someone just saying in the chat they're shorting Tesla. Dangerous, but we'll have a look at it right now. I mean, oops, that's the TQ. It's like, why? Change the chart. Let's go. Okay, yeah, actually, yes. So we have to do a little more work here because we're getting a little lazy. We've just been sort of resting on our laurels. We're having, it's been a good couple days here. Let's just get back and focused here. So underneath the 200 period moving average, we really like that trade. This for me, look, great call. I mean, great shout out there. I like this as a call, but I'm gonna have to stay true to what I normally do here. And with the market up now 3%, well, actually, we were just talking about when's the last time it closed 3%. Remember when I was short and I was like, I'm going short because Google will be lower than this if the market doesn't hold 3%. So hopefully Google can start to get a little bit lower. We should have averaged back into that, but again, distracted. We should have been in there. That's no excuse. But I was just going to say, for those of you that are looking at Tesla, yeah, I think this looks fine for a short. You're underneath the 200. You got the 50 period moving average now starting to slope down. If you're in this name, stay in it. I mean, you don't have anything to worry about, in my opinion, to get back in here to 243. So that's not even that far away. I really like the risk to reward now. Like now that I see this is probably even a flat bottom break right now on the hour. I like this trade. I think there's a lot of good opportunity here. And yeah, if you're in Tesla, I'd hold it. This is a good short rate here. 241.75. I actually... It's too bad, like I just said, I'd have to go against, my beliefs. But, that 241.75, I think that's a good break spot to go lower. If you're already short here, you've come in running into some support. This could be an area to cover if you do have something. And you guys know if I was in this trade, I definitely would be covering something and then getting mad when it breaks lower. But I think that's a trade for sure. Good look there on Tesla. For me, I'm staying away just because of the strength in the name. But I think if you're all about that life, take it. I think that short is very good. You got something for us, Adara?
I looked into Nike here, a bit of an interesting look here. Not actually seeing any catalyst beyond this very small price target decrease from Bernstein this morning, going from 112 to 109, though they did maintain an outperform rating. This price target decrease was also discussed on CNBC Squawk Box about an hour ago. It's interesting, too. When we had this move, I looked in on social media, not a ton of mentions on social media about this name, but there were some about half an hour ago wondering what the news was. No real news. All this is really, you say, it's kind of an unexplained move here in Nike, though I was also seeing some notes that the early move to the upside could have been related to the rate cuts and that being positive for the consumer space. So that's the look here in NKE, guys.
So, no, I think it's it's obviously going to be whatever happened on Squawk Box.
I know. It's like Josh Brown comes on, it's like, I like Pfizer. Pfizer just ripped up.
Well, it's been Uber lately.
Eli Lilly. I like
the last
Uber.
4 times it was Uber.
I hate Nike.
So yeah, so obviously I'm going to presume something negative was said about Nike on Squawk Box, and that's the cause for the move to the downside. Randy actually asked if you wanted a coffee.
Randy?
Yeah, he's
and Randy's not even here, dude. What do you mean, Randy?
Okay.
In what chat? Our work chat?
In the work chat. I'm like, he's not even here.
He didn't ask that.
He did, like while we were on the afternoon.
Oh, that must have been.
And it's like, I think he was just messing around.
Yeah, he has sunglasses on. I'm gonna tell him. Yes.
But yeah, so Nike's not going to move like that without a catalyst. But obviously, it would be nice sometimes to just be able to be like, oh, blah 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 blah, give an analyst spiel about something, and then the stock drops like $1.50. I'm not necessarily chasing this move, and when you look at Nike, hey, kudos Nike. That's like 6 or 7 days in a row, 6 days in a row to the upside since bouncing off the 50 period. So you're probably ripe for a little bit of profit taking, and it got some exuberance probably from the algos when that mention happened. So it is what it is. I know for a lot of traders, it gets probably frustrating. Like imagine you're in a trade where it's moving like normal, doing the regular thing. It can be trending to the upside, and then all of a sudden someone just decides to say something on a program, and then stock dumps like that. Like that can be frustrating. I also was a little bit distracted there because Amazon did pretty much wick that high again. And then there was a pretty big or a quick drop, I think. So I got it on the way back up here at the mid-70s, in the mid-70s, once again off of that high. We got another super chat here. SP Williams, Roku thoughts. First off, thank you. I'll hit the like for that. I'll get this out of the way. We always talk about Roku. Every time we say Roku, I'm not a big believer necessarily in their model. It's not like a bias against them. That said, it is a very clear sort of gap fill that it didn't really close the gap altogether, but it's gotten very close. And sometimes when you look at this type of a gap fill, you'll say, okay, it needs to break here, which it's already done, and then get all the way to like this high, like the pre-earnings high of like 95. I'm generally looking at like this level, like the support from before, which is right around 82. So I feel like it's closed in the majority of the gap here. But the good part about it from a technical standpoint is you've broken out and you could just end up consolidating well above the 200 period moving average. So a bit of a pullback kind of day because you got really close to filling in that gap. And now I think you can just look for some kind of a support level to form, whether or not it's the exact same support level as before, or it makes a higher one. You have to let it sort of suss itself out. Whenever you have a new range get made, you want it to find some support. I just think it kind of filled most of the gap in, got to $80, and found some sellers back in. A lot of small caps did today. You notice that the big cap tech names are the ones that were really given the goods, and the smaller names weren't necessarily as good today. And it was surprising to a lot of people. You would have thought they'd do better. Like a great example of that is a firm. Like a firm gapped above that big old 45 level. Now it did recover. That's why I'm pointing it out. But it gave up at the open, pulled all the way back into 44, then does a massive V-shaped recovery to 48, and then where did the strength go? Right back into the bottom for firms. So I feel like a lot of the more high flyer type of names here today maybe not faring as well. Roku's an example. Affirm is a perfect example of that. I think we just have to let these settle down, find some kind of a support level, because they were all on a tear before this anyways.
What's up, Cash Money in the chat? Like, what is the gobble machine? What does that mean? Is it gobbling up the shares here? I was like, as we continue to go higher right there. Oh, I know what we could do here. Hold on a second. Where is it? Right here. Here it is. There. You want to say, give me some of those Kit Kats. No, it was on the Kit Kat, man. Go back. Here it is. Oh, you want these Kit Kats, my guy? There he is.
You can't have
Gotta
them.
go this way. No, gotta go that way. Okay, that's what it's all about. All right, let's try to find some names for everybody here. I mean, I'm looking at Softy. I'm looking at Tesla. Microsoft moving around just a little bit. I have Apple on right now. The reason why I was, there's nothing going on, man. Look at, I don't know why Microsoft just showed up on my screener there. It must be, I get to try to break a little bit below VWAP right now. Okay, so that would make sense. There it is. There's the VWAP break, but I had to zoom in. Like, it's just so, congested right here. We talked about Tesla trying to break lower. I think that might be the good play there. Microsoft looks like it wants to go. The reason why I was on Apple, maybe if we zoom back in, we just came back up to that high again. I kind of like that short now. We've seen it. We're underneath. Missed it. Should have had it. We're 50 cents in the money on, I don't know if this is the gobble machine or not, but we're 50 cents in the money on this name, which is Google, to the downside. I think that could break. I actually like to add maybe if we break 162.60. So that could again be another play for us at some point here on Google, not gobble. So that could be a play there if we were looking for it. Let me check in on Bitcoin, 63.4 right now. Let's check out what iBit is up to. All right, so this is moving down. So this could be something as well. Looks like everything's starting to range down a little bit. The reason why I was so conservative about trying to give everybody a play or what to do here in the afternoon is, like, we were just bouncing around here. I don't really like in between these areas right now. We're definitely not scared to trade it. I'd just rather short something if we came up to the 50 period, because right now we've already been down here. Like, if I got excited about the short there, that's a loss. That's a loss. That's a loss. That's a loss. So it's like when we talk about trading and looking at patterns, pattern recognition, and historical relevance, right now the futures are not wanting to break this. I think if you break 20, we're right here right now, 20,100, psychological level with a little bit of support. I think that's where we could get to. So maybe a TQQ short, if you can get back up into this area, would be something to look at. But for me right now, kind of just sitting on our hands just a little bit. I do want to look back over at some names that we've already made money on, and I'll take other names. I know you guys are asking about Roku and some of these other ones. We have no problem looking at them, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to trade them. Look at Palantir here. Okay, so now we might have finally found something. We made money on Palantir long. Palantir is still my second most profitable name today. But this is a good little drop right here, right? Breaking that back down below this level. I like this trade. Underneath VWAP, underneath the 50-period moving average. Let's go. 36.70 break, we're going short. All right, you guys like that trade? I think we could try that right now. 36.70 going short against VWAP, which is 85s. So again, you take 2,000 shares. You're going to lose, that would be a penny, 15 cents or so. So be ready to lose that much if that's how much you want to trade on a name like a Palantir. But I like that. Breaking back down below 36.70 here for PLTR looks like a decent trade for this guy. So I'm going to probably try that. We'll see if we can get away with it here on PLTR. A short below 36.70. Looks like it might want to go. We are nicely in the money on Google, but Google, again, not going. I'm going to put a bid here. It's only 312. I mean, if the market does go, we'll find. I'm not going to put a bid then. Let's hold on to something in case it goes. But Google is looking stronger than I'd given it credit for, that's for sure, as it's trying to go down, but holding the bid. So I would say watch out for that. I'm actually excited. Oh, Palantir just broke. I didn't even get the order out. All right, so I think we should probably go short here on Palantir. Let's not, like, I know it's like, oh, I'm like, it looks like, okay, there we just got some 69s. I just offered 69 and it ripped back up against me. So, all right, so there we go. So we have this one now. Let's just wait to see what's going on with Palantir. We'll start to get a little more shares here. We're short now, 69 on Palantir. We just talked about why we liked it. Breaking below, we have the 50 period. We'll take a little bit more if we can get some 75s, maybe even get some more at 80, but our out at the end of the day is probably a break of 90. So short at 70, break at 90. We're looking for 20 cents. Let's see what winds up happening here for Palantir. The market may not go down. That low right there is only 65. This might not have the legs to give us 1-to-1. So this might be more of a scalp than anything else, but we'll try it right here. We're short Palantir, looking to get a little bit more.
Yeah, you know what? DJT's starting to dump again a little bit, and I want to join this one here. Just did that. It got all the way back to VWAP, and then was sort of gliding to the downside, then acceleration just now. So like we were saying before, in terms of lows, the only low that you can point to, unless you go back to the SPAC days, is going to be 1440. I mean, you can always look, if you want to, you can pull up a chart. If you can find a historical chart of DWAC, then look underneath the 1440 price and find yourself a significant level. I'm not going to bother with that. I just think it's trending down today with the lockup and all that good stuff. It's been trending down, I don't know, since ever. Yeah, I mean, look, there was an upward trend here. So let's just say it's been trending down since July the 15th. So DJT is still working to the downside. And when it starts to accelerate, I'm going to jump in. This was a breakdown. It looks like at about 1480 just a couple of minutes ago. If it breaks above that local high, I want to get out. I think there's room to the low. And if it can get to the low, great. And Armando Zapata, polls announcement, Harris winning. Maybe that's, yeah, politics aside. Maybe it has something to do with the polls. That doesn't necessarily matter.
I'm going to take out 10%
trading
pound here.
Yeah, it's just about price action, right? Like, I care about the price action here. Like, the reason why it's moving can be a little bit secondary. There's like an implicit, I guess, weakness because of the perception that Trump could sell. Whether he does or not doesn't really matter to me. Like, when I see it accelerate to the downside, the last couple of times that you got the heavy moves down, it's generally followed through. There was, right at the open was when it didn't follow through, like had a big candle and then kind of consolidated and then broke higher. Every other time where you've had any kind of acceleration moment, there's been continuation today. That's all I'm really looking at here. And of course, I'm still in Amazon here off that same level. We did get back in the third time. It's just slowly breaking down beneath VWAP. But I feel like, you know, like the Mag 7 type names today, the strength seems to be, and even like Amazon wasn't the strongest, but the strength this afternoon, they're not really rolling over that much. You see the difference, like DJT, win or lose, like that's a weak stock right now. That's why I was almost thinking about, when I was talking about a firm, like look at a firm, like why not be shorting a firm into the close, well underneath VWAP, clearly in a retracement trend, plenty of room to the low of the day. I mean, it's at 45, low of the day is 44.30. It has a chance with the market trying to bounce off 20,000 one here. Like you're trying to catch a bit of a bid after that downward candle. So if you're looking for places to short, maybe put in a higher low and then grab a weak name here. So I'm kind of looking at a firm, like why not grab this if it bounces back into the 45 level. So I'm going to throw a firm up along with Amazon and DJT, and then those will be the three things I'm looking at for the next few minutes in here. Well, for the next 30 minutes or so until we get some imbalances. Because of tomorrow, at 350, I'm just going to be looking out on the off chance Palantir or Dell has something the day before. You never really know. Those are the two big ones. And if one of them has an imbalance, or maybe American Airlines or Etsy, then I want to be looking at those at 350. Until then, Affirm, Amazon, DJT.
Yeah, we're going to go to Dare, but last time we had that new bank, and we saw that punch long, man. We got long in the 70s, out O's. That was a huge trade for us.
But you know why it was so big? Because no one was no one's expecting Nubank. I think that's
no, there was.
I know,
that
but
was
like
that report. Remember, there it was an ad or something.
No, but the more that like Nubank's not Palantir, like it's not as well known of a stock. I didn't mean like there was a report saying it was a buy and bounce. What I kind of meant by that was it's not something that's followed a lot.
People are ready for Palantir.
People were ready. People have been gearing up for Palantir. Whereas Nubank, when it comes out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, that's an ad today. You didn't even think about it. Those can be the best ones.
Yeah, I think it's even since that day, you could find out where the volume
still
was.
up.
But yeah, I mean, it pulled back into sub 14. It was one of these days right here, August 30th. There it was. So it was this day, yeah, up to 15. And I remember we had got the log, then it pulled back. Now it's all the way back up. What's up, Adara?
Two catalysts here to be aware of on a news basis just coming in through here with a bit of a volume spike. First, we have Novo Nordisk, NVO. This one here announcing that the European regulators have allowed them to update their label to reflect the fact that Wegovy has now also reduced heart failure symptoms and improved physical function. So Wegovy label update sending NVO, giving a bit of a volume spike here for NVO. Also worth noting GM, a much more distinct move here. Three highest volume candles of the day, pushing lower. This looks like a sympathy play. Around the same time we had this, Mercedes-Benz, and now it's lowering its guidance here for fiscal 2024. Also saying they're expecting, quote, significantly lower than expected free cash flow and EBITDA for 2024. So weak guidance for Mercedes-Benz, sending GM to the downside on pretty big volume spike, guys.
All right, just quickly there, we'll take 50 cents right now on, where's my bear? We like that one. Okay, so Google's coming back in a little bit, so we'll take that, obviously. as we'll take a bid there at the 50 period, trying to break a little bit lower. We take some 64s now on Palantir. Okay, we're short 69. We got a couple more shares in on that play. Look, I don't want to take 5 cents. We'll take out 10% literally there. I do have another bid at 62s. Maybe we get that. So we'll take some bids there at 62. So good trade there. I mean, a quick little short, a quick little scalp. You guys wanted to know what I was looking at. That's what I was looking at. Palantir downside, Google downside. Google's really starting to go. We said, let's try to hold this. But again, man, we looked at the clock. We looked at our net. Let's just start banking. So that was a good one right there. 162. I mean, remember, we got to afford these shawarma parties. Like, they have to happen like every day now. So watch out there. 162. Although tonight I'm going to this really wicked Italian place in the Junction, and they make fresh pasta every day. And
so not the Olive Garden.
Not the Olive Garden does not get mentioned in my house, but other than on the show, I guess. And my wife's watching this, she'll probably be like, yo, Olive Garden. But no, yeah, homemade stuff. So we'll see. Every time I go in there, the guy throws me an espresso, so that's nice. We'll see about getting that. You
got to have the cannoli.
He had this wicked pesto.
What do we have in that cannoli
sauce? Again? I mean, I could bring cannolis in any day, man. I mean, tomorrow's supposed to be.
No, we were going to do shawarma tomorrow.
Yeah, Corona. What do we call it?
Shawarma and Corona. I don't know.
Yeah. It wasn't shawarma Rona, no. It was.
We were gonna do
Corona
Rona.
We had it yesterday. It was actually made a lot of sense yesterday.
It really did. I promise. If you were watching yesterday, you probably remember us saying something rather.
There goes Palantir.
More intelligent about the shawarma.
Probably not more intelligent, but might have been made more sense.
Or more delicious. Get to the downside.
All right, there you go. Fabian needs to be on the show. All right, so there's a nice move down in. Hey, look, guys, we're doing it again. We do not have diamond hands on this trade, but we are out of 40% now. We actually just got 60s, so we take out 10 at 64, 10 at 62, and 20% down here at 60 as Palantir falls in perfectly for us. This is just, hi, my name's Sean. We'll continue to be scalper here and not change a damn thing that we do. All we do is add to our layers, right? Like, we've added holding on. We've added trusting ourselves more, holding on for longer, believing in plays, staying with plays as long as we can, right? How many times? Not even just trading 5, 6 names. Like yesterday, we are blessed enough to go 8 for 8, but it's still 8 names only, right? So just be careful with all of this stuff. You want to watch out for some of these trades. Like, look at Google right here. This just came right into right where we thought it was going to come into. Now is the bouncing spot. It's the same news for Tesla probably. I'm not on Tesla right now, but look at that break. Oh no, Sean. We said no, Sean Moreno. Remember that guy? Right there. We were. Start with that. Look at that. I said Tesla's a short back at the 200 period. Who's got that with me, man? That was but we don't have it. We stuck with Palantir. Come on, Alice Karp, man. But there it is. Look at this trade. That's $1.50 off of that trade. And see, it just goes back to the point that I said. We looked at Tesla. I liked it, but I said I'm going to stay away because it was up too much. But the trade still works out. Obi had that point today, and I thought it was one of the most valid points I've heard on the midday show in forever, and only because it made a lot of sense to me. And that is that no matter what the stock is, if your setups are there, you should be looking at them. Now, do you take them all the time? No. But if the setups are there, then they're there. And I mean, for me on Tesla, I talked myself out of it, which I think is fine. It goes up to the 200 period and gives you that short. So again, you can stay away. And I think I'm going to stay disciplined and try to stay away from setups that don't fit exactly. This stock was up on the day too much, didn't fit it exactly. But I did like what Obi had said there. And it was just trade the names. And honestly, I took Obi aside. He'll tell you this a while ago. And I was like, bro, we can't just be looking at Amazon. There's so many other trades out there. You've done the work. You've put in the study. You've looked at charts. You've aggressively journaled. You've meditated. You've done all that stuff. Go out, find what you're looking for, and do not stay on the same names because that's not, in my opinion, the way to trade. I have a basket of them.
He's a mean reversion trader, right? And one of the things about it, if you're a mean reversion trader, you kind of have to be on something that has enough to mean revert on the day. Like you got to be on the mover that day. So you can have a big basket. Like everyone has their own thing. Like I'll tell you, and some of the worst days will be like if I have my iPad up. No, it's okay. If I have my iPad up and I'll have like the list of names I normally like. I might throw some earnings names on the bottom or a few names that aren't like there every single day. But when I go through each of those, if I have something written down to every single one of them, those aren't the best days. It's usually when I look at it, it's like, oh, there's only like 6 or 7 that are at key price levels. How did I accidentally close that? They're at key price levels. This is a really old iPad, by the way. It's probably like 75 million years old. No, but you want to find those days where you like 7 or 8 things, and maybe all of them do not come out to that key level. But if it does, and you're at your desk, you want to put the trade on. Like the example would be 100% I would have been short on Intel at 2070. The only reason I wasn't is because I literally wasn't sitting down here. And that was a mean reversion trade. Now, was I disciplined enough to wait for it? No. So I had it short, and then when I got away from my desk was the best opportunity. It is what it is. But when your trade comes in, you do want to take it, and you want to make sure that you're on it. Why do we like that level? Because it's a triple top. It's showing you a resistance spot. Now, if tomorrow we come in and this thing is breaking out above 2180, I'd probably like it long if it broke out 2180. But until that happens, I want to look short. I did jump out of Amazon. Amazon is now so you're starting to get higher lows off of this. Like it's the same level, but the buyers are coming in a little bit higher on each move, which, again, it's Mag 7. It's kind of relatively strong in here. So it gave the fills back in the mid-70s. This time, the dip and the big buying started to come right back in at 189.30. So I just jumped in and out of it. It's not going to be as good as the last couple of times it got to this level. But I can sort of see what's happening here. And you look at the NASDAQ in a general sense, hey, look at that. It bounced off VWAP and resumed going to the upside. So pulls are right back into VWAP, and we're right back above 2010. So if you're short something that has a propensity to follow this a little bit, that was a good spot to take some profit. Doesn't mean you have to, but for me, when I saw the buying come at exactly that moment, just jump out of the short and move on to the next.
On to the next. Look, definitely here. Good call on all of that. Tonight we have FedEx. Last move was 15%. I mean, expected move today, 7.1. Let's go find out and gauge the strength and or weakness in the economy with FedEx earnings. We also have Lennar tonight as well after market close.
Only 5%. Eh?
Yeah, 5% move. Oh, the home builders don't move that much. We'll find out what happens with Lennar and FedEx. So two basic, economic sort of indicators there. We'll see FedEx for shipping and retail and how that's doing. And then, of course, Lennar. We've talked about XHB. This is what Lennar looks like. I just know XHB is busting out there. It's been a different game for different home builders, but yeah, same way for Lennar. Huge move. It looks like it's probably pull up a weekly. It's probably at all-time highs, looking like it wants to go there. So I mean, all-time.
Yeah, it's got to be.
I don't know if it's all-time highs. I mean, 2008 was pretty nasty. It might have been higher before then. But probably should have recovered. 192 right there for Lennar. I mean, what a great move from last year at this time. You come over here into September, you're a $100 name. So nice move there for Lennar over the time. And then FedEx joined me and Miss Danielle Shay. I think this might be her last one for a while with Danielle. So we'll join her tonight. Well, she'll join me and you'll join all of us tonight at on the recap show. Yeah, FedEx. Look, man, good mover here. Wow, this is going to be interesting for FedEx. Nice move down, recovery held, 7 or 8, 10 straight up days here for FedEx heading into the report. Spicy, man. We'll see if that can take it out. I think it does. Watch out for 315. I think they're going to say some nice stuff coming into, of course, the fall season. Back to school's already happened. We'll wait for fall, Black Friday, Christmas events, so on and so forth. We'll watch out for FedEx, and then we'll watch some of the other shipping names as well, UPS, so on and so forth.
I'm excited for Black Friday.
Even Amazon. Oh, yeah, what do you got in mind?
We're finally actually, I'm not that big of a deal. Like, I'll look and see what the deals are on Black Friday, but this time we are actually buying a new TV. I have no idea.
Oh, okay, well.
Yeah, we gave away our one in the basement to my nephew who's going away to school, and it's like, okay, well, what do you need? And that's what he needed. I'm like, well, I'd rather give you mine than I can get a new one. Like, why not? So I'm in the market. Usually I'm not buying anything interesting. I'll just find deals on the stuff that I regularly get. We get so many Amazon deliveries. It's ridiculous. There's like 5 or 6 things. My wife's on vacation, and I get like 5 packages yesterday. I'm like, I didn't order anything. Who knows? We just constant. I love Amazon, don't get me wrong. But there was a point I wanted to make about Lennar. If you saw what happened in DHI today, I think it was Adara was on this, right? Was it?
I have no idea.
Anyways, if you saw what happened in DHI, sometimes it's about like where something is. Like it broke out to 200, but you're at that fresh high. It's a very clean rejection. Like it never really recovered, kind of like the classic Head and Shoulders. Once it rejected 200 in the pre-market, like the previous high was just it. Like sometimes you find a level like that as a setup on earnings, and it's a good one. You have the previous high, failed breakout, and then prior resistance remains the same thing. So when you're looking at Lennar tomorrow, if you are for whatever reason, probably worth looking at DHI, what already happened there. So we're out of Amazon. DJT, where are we going here? We're at 74s. I'm at 68. Still giving it to 80. Don't want to change too much there. If it breaks out above here, I want to be out. If it gets to the low of the day, that's where I want to take profit in front of this bottom. And then the actual low, technically that's the pre-market low when it was dumping. There was no news. I think people were just getting out in front of things when everyone was talking about the lockup expiring. I would venture there's almost 0% chance that significant selling was done by Trump, just based on some of the volume today. Like there was a couple of volume spikes, but if there was an event happening, I think it would fall a little bit faster than this. It's either going to trend down gently, or you're going to have a few big, you-know-what type of candles. 330 just hit. I'm still looking for a firm to give me a short off of 45.5. Not sure it wants to quite get there. It's either reload Amazon at the top, which is looking iffy because the market's kind of strong, or trying to get into a firm, which I said is the third name that I am looking at. Just looking for more of a pop than this. But if it doesn't go up, maybe it's shorter right back underneath 45. Every time I look at this stock, it's at $45.
All right, I see you here, Mara. Mara making moves down again. Wow, right into the day's low again for Mara. It's too bad. We talked about missing that trade there. It looked to me like Palantir, where everything is pointing to the downside. Palantir, it's a good thing we got out of 40% of that trade. I'm not even going to reload this one. The out now, I'm just going to change it. We only took 10 cents. That's 81 or 82 right there. So I feel pretty confident that's where the 200 period is. So let's just adjust our stop on Palantir and put it in at 36.82. So if it breaks higher than that, we'll just punch out of Palantir. We've sort of built this position, and I'm not adding to it. So we'll take some out. It's going to be a good trade for us. We went long. Now we're going short. We talked about all of the indicators lining up for us to hit this name short. We're short Google. We're short Palantir. We liked Coinbase earlier as well. This continues to make moves downside. We talked about that 170. I was thinking that this is a decent long opportunity right now for Coinbase trying to hold. But again, I don't know enough about the story because Bitcoin's battled back nicely and Coinbase just continues to do this. Like I would have thought that if Bitcoin was 10%, I guess, away from its all-time highs, what are we at, 63? So 64, add 10% to that, that's 71 and change. Maybe. So let's just say 13% or so away from its all-time high. So this name to me should be at least into 190. Like that's 13, 14% is right there. And then so what's up with all this then? What's up with all this overhang? So I don't know. We'll have to do some more work on Coinbase. But yeah, that name heading lower right now in the afternoon. So here goes Palantir right back down again. Let's put some bid early 60s. Now that we know our risk is 1-to-1, we should be pretty happy with the return here. Google also starting to break lower. Google has to break this shelf and then we'll be fine. But right now it's Adara at the big screen.
No shortage here of names on the S&P 500 making power moves to the upside. We're going to talk about some of these names that are up more than 2 or 3% with strong catalysts today to back them up. We have CRM here, Salesforce. We did have a lot of these names in the software space pushing higher off of yesterday's rate cut. But CRM, along with CrowdStrike, also getting quite a few positive analyst notes. In particular for Salesforce, we have Truist Securities reiterating a buy rating and raising its price target from 300 to 315. We also have here Darden Restaurants here, DRI. This one up more than 7%. The earnings themselves were this morning. They missed for earnings per share and for sales, but they announced a partnership with Uber Delivery, starting with limited Olive Garden restaurants. So DRI to the upside. And last but not least, CEG, one of the few utility names to the upside today, and upside in a pretty major way. Basically having this press release here about how their clean energy centers performed, apparently 98.1% of their full capacity. So good energy performance here for CEG, making it the outstanding performance here in utilities, guys.
Just answering Rob.
What did Rob say?
No, if I say that I'm going to have a bourbon old fashioned and I don't tell you on the rocks or not, which way would you serve it?
Yeah, neat, right?
Neat.
Yeah.
Like if you want it on the rocks, you ask for it on the rocks. If you don't say anything, that means you want it. That means you want it neat. I mean, I don't know. That's my thing. There were some early look imbalances. Oddly enough, NU has an imbalance, not like it usually does, but it's not. This isn't a big imbalance early look for NU. 2 million shares is not going to cut it. Let me just double check how many it's done in volume. Like the day that it moved, like the day that it had that big move, it was 63 million, I want to say. Maybe 68, something like that. So it was over 30 times as large as the current imbalance that you're seeing. Oddly enough, it was at exactly the same price that it's trading at now. Freeport that's up there for 1.4 million to the sell side. BAC, a 1.1 million buy early, and Wells Fargo is a 1.1 million sell on the early look. So not even any uniformity there. But none of the big cap names tech names I should say, because it's only New York that we get the early look for. So I'd say nothing really standing out. Maybe a couple of those banks. If they were the same direction, I think I'd probably care a little bit more. But one up, one down. We'll wait till 350 where you might see a little bit more interesting imbalances. Volky saying go Meta.
Yeah, Meta.
Yeah, go Meta.
Crazy. We had indicated
maybe I shouldn't have sold some in my personal account in the middle of the day.
Correct. Meta, huge move, man. Just continues to go upside now. 562. Continues to go. I mean, this is just a monster name. Breaking higher. Love this name, man. We're long even under $100. Some of these shares as well. But it just keeps on going, man. 600 next up for Meta. No reason why this name wants to stop. You broke out here. Should have been on. Well, it was on our radar yesterday, but I've kind of moved away. Like, you know, I used to trade Microsoft and Meta, like, basically relentlessly throughout time of the show. This is why here now, I'm having, like, names sub 200, like we have Tesla on here as well. The spread sometimes just a little bit too much. And for me, I mean, I like the stock. We continue to like it. But today I can't really like Microsoft. I mean, it's not really doing anything. This is going to be the next one to go. I'm hoping it's going to be Google. But right now, Microsoft, just having a little bit of a time. It needs to break above 450 before it gets parabolic like its friend Meta. But Mark Zuckerberg just continues to cash in. We talked about that. I think he's the second. First, Sharif was wrong the other day. It was because I had that tweet that Adara sent me, the richest guys.
Oh, the richest.
Yeah, it was Elon, then it was Bezos, then it was Zuckerberg, then I think it was Arnault from LVMH, and then it was. And then I think it was Larry Ellison. So,
yeah, Larry Ellison.
So with Oracle.
I mean, he's up there. He's not. Look, the guy's not hurting.
Who, Larry Ellison?
Yeah, he ain't hurting. But
and then Bill Gates was there, and so was Ballmer and all that stuff. So, unless that sheet was old, I'm just telling you what was on that sheet. Sharif could be right. Of who's the richest now? But it's definitely Elon. 251 billion they had his net worth at. Of course, a lot of that tied up in Tesla stock. So this guy's happy today, man. If your net worth is 250 Bs, and then all of a sudden you're up 7% today, that's a couple yachts.
You can just buy the NFL.
So, you should just buy every single team in the NFL. Yeah, you could easily do that. And then also sell X for a probably loss at this point. So PayPal continues to move higher as well.
Ain't over yet.
I'm seeing that going up now.
That's not coming back probably for years anyway.
Yeah,
it's a long game.
There goes PayPal, $74, $75. I mean, another name that's breaking out on the daily chart. Oh, we talked about where this could possibly get today, 278. If we got
it already broke that level.
Yeah, I know. So we're right into here right now. So this is a decent sell spot. I checked, man. I have like 4,000 or 5,000 worth of Tesla. I wish I had 4,000 or 5,000 shares of PayPal. Sorry. But right now, I think this is a good sell level. Quite frankly, I'm not in it that much, so I just told you how much. I'm going to wait to see where this goes. But again, nice highs for PayPal. Congratulations, anybody that's been buying this name. Great bottom there, man, at $58, $59. Huge move back up there to the upside. Get your questions ready to go. I'll ask Danielle some questions. Bears Disclose, if anybody posts any in there, we can get some going. We do know that we want to talk to you about Netflix. She just posted up a video about Netflix, so we'll talk to Danielle about that name. And then I'm going to ask her about Nike because Nike's coming in. I believe Nike.
Oh, you've got to.
Nike reports next week, I believe.
For me, you got to bring up because the SMH off the 200 period on the daily, 50 period on the weekly, because she was mentioning that was her buy spot. And if you pull up a chart of the SMH, oops, sorry, I was going to say something about Square, but no, if you pull up a chart of SMH, there's the recent dip buy off the 200 period on the daily. And that's the 50 period on the weekly. And when something good that you like is holding those major moving averages, you can do a heck of a lot worse than buying those levels. Now, when you mentioned PayPal, immediately I was like, okay, 200 period, 70 potential breakout on Block. Block went right to the 200 period today and then stalled out. Like that 69 top, that's exactly what you see there on that daily chart. So this one's kind of primed to go. It's been doing okay, but PayPal obviously leading a lot higher. You'd think you'd do better here, Square. Bitcoin's going, the other payment names are going, rates are coming down, but this is a nice look for a 70 break on Square.
So looks like we will give a little bit back here on Palantir. It's right at that 80 level. I'm not averaging into it. It's if I was on this level and looking at it, the 50 period just came way back down in, right? So right now that's 82, 83. We could actually, now that we're up here, I don't even want to give it too much more, man. If it breaks 80, let's just get out. I mean, we could be really cute with this and give it, you know what, let's just give it that one more level there. All right, we could average in here. I'm going to put out here, let's put out a stop of 36.84 or so now on this. Okay, good, it went out. All right, we'll take a little bit more at this level. And it's just up here. It's not a very big trade for us. We'll give back probably... Well, look, we've already made that money down here on Palantir, so I'm just trying to calculate the loss. It'll be about 20% or so of what we made earlier on this, if it ticks out, maybe 25%, give or take the math, on a break up here through the 200 period. So Palantir has gone back upside now. We traded it. We thought it was a little bit weak. The daily chart obviously shows strength. But look what's happened. Remember I talked about the market and we were underneath the 50 period, but where were we really going? Well, the answer was VWAP. So we went right down to VWAP and bounced completely off that one. I talked about, hey, there's only one sort of indicator you need, and that would be VWAP, and I stand by that one. Nice move down there for Palantir and for the market, and now you're right back up. So we're short right now, 36.72 on Palantir. Hopefully that will come in. And then Google, we have very small piece left of that trade, but we sort of talked about that. We got a piece out there, so this is about 10% left. We got one there. We should have taken it out there. We were looking at it, but we were like, nah, maybe it breaks, but it does not break. So looks like holding on, sleepy afternoon, but we are starting to drift back up into the close. So really no surprise there.
Yeah, no surprise there. It was strength in the market today. We did say this before, like usually when we get a 3% day, it's very rare that you get follow through past that 3%. So it got a little bit range bound, but it's still pretty strong. Was Aldrin in the chat asking thoughts on JD? I kind of feel like Jermaine Dupri hasn't really done much of anything lately, so you must mean JD.com. Shout out to Jermaine Dupri. It was hot one time. There's a really great story about the Brad and Mariah Carey. Oh my goodness. But anyways, you can look that one up if you want to. I'm not going to say it on there. JD, like a lot of the other Chinese ADRs today, it's having a good day. What I like about this, the topic on the midday show was rounded bottoms. And this does have a rounded bottom. Now, it already made a failed breakout, then put another rounded bottom and breakout in there as well. So it's kind of doing this the second time, and above that 50 period moving average, just needs to hold on. Okay, not saying anything you guys probably don't know already, like I like Alibaba a lot better. I went from someone who was taking swing trades in Alibaba twice for losses to someone who's like, no, it's at a price, I'm just going to buy it and hold it now, because I feel like that's the better way to go. If you think something is a value play that's depressed, then you should be buying and holding it and not trying to time when it's going to go to the upside. But I like this a little bit better for the rounded bottom, and it's making a nice gentle move, setting up a and it's not to ignore JD. I feel like it's just a much more calm and gentle, steady upward trend into that 90 break. Whereas JD, in contrast here, oh no, shoot, what the heck just, okay, I'll change this chart because I just had something else crash. It's gonna be frustrating. So JD, in contrast, it's kind of breaking back out, but you saw the nice gentle upward trend that BABA has, whereas JD just going sideways, now sort of gapping up. I like the nice gentle uptrend. That's exactly what I want a stock to do when you own it, is just have a nice, when it pulls back, it makes higher highs and higher lows, and BABA's been doing that for a minute, whereas JD's kind of like rip, pull back, go sideways, try to rip again. At what point does it start going into a trending stock? That's what I'd like to see. So that's the only reason I prefer Alibaba. Fundamentally, I like them, and they're a nice upward trend. But yeah, JD's breaking out a bit. 50 period, 200 period. You're going to close above both those today, barring, I mean, it would literally have to have a disaster right now not to.
I think we should just not get too greedy with this trade here. I'm going to put a bid out. It's only 340. Well, it's already 344, I should say. So let's just get, wow, that's later than I thought, actually. Let's put a bid out here for Google. Let's just bid 70s. Right now, we just wick down into that level. If we can get that, then great. That'll be 60 cents or so, 55 cents if we can get a 70 fill. And we'll like that. You know, let's get a little more greedy for that. We're right here right now. Let's put a bid. Let's just bid a 66 level there. We'll go Mario Lemieux, as we won't say that too loud because I don't want to scar Obi again. All right, so right down there, 62, 63 has been the bottom. So we'll take a 66 into the close and hope for the best. Palantir, I mean, a little bit of a good reload there. There we go. We get that Google trade. So, hey, man, one more time. Let's do one more of this and go a little bit of diamond hands. I mean, we could have got out lower. Actually, we could not have gotten out lower. So that's good. Like, that's the trade. What else are we supposed to do? Short the top, get out at the bottom. This is Google, 163.25. I mean, we didn't average in all the way up. So all of these are boom to the downside, boom goes the dynamite. That's a good one for me. We'll take that piece out right there. I was going to go over to Palantir because Palantir just went into 74s there, 75s. So we were out of the money, 3 pennies there. I did not get out. We are waiting to get out for something for flat if we can get into 72, 73, and then maybe a drip down. But remember, 5 minutes until those imbalances, and
yeah, really 4 minutes.
Really minutes away now from tomorrow, which are rebalancing days. And it's a quad witching tomorrow, so we're going to have S&P 500 rebalancing and things like that. We talked about Palantir and Dell and a whole bunch of other names coming through. We'll have more of those for you tomorrow. So that could be something tonight, right? And I think that Palantir, the closer we get, it's probably going to come. And I know it's a New York name, so there'll probably be, actually, I don't see it. Oh, there it is right there. It's a buy. That's from 9:30, so there's still some really left up. So we'll wait to see what happens at 350 when they all get bought, when they all get displayed. So that could be interesting. I'm not super pleased that we're that close to 350. So my stop is where it is, breaking through 85. We're out of Palantir, well worth the risk. Not too many shares on this name. We just hit Google, man. That was a great out there for Google. So this is what we've been doing all day into the afternoon. So follow me at Trader TV, Sean, for more fun like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I just cancel my orders on Amazon. I feel like with 347, if it gets back up to the top, I probably don't want it. So we're not going to reload up at the top on Amazon. And then the last little dip on DJT, I just took some out. It's not like the acceleration that happened is completely gone. So if it's not going to move here, we're just going to take what we can get. We are getting on in the day here. But you know the good part about it, there might be only 3 minutes left to the imbalances. But when we get some imbalances, we'll see if anything sets up. But then aftermarket, you're going to have some home builders. You're going to have FedEx earnings. You're going to have Danielle Shay and Sean getting all your questions answered. So get them in there. Like as Sean mentioned, and all of our guests are like this, and Danielle especially. You have some options questions. There's a symbol you want to look at. Then just let us know in the chat. Bears versus Bulls is fantastic with that. But with only a couple of minutes to go to the imbalance, I'm not putting anything on the front side of 350. If something comes out gigantic, hey, you never really know. We'll keep our ears to the ground, and we'll have the locator up. There's still nothing really. It's just like NU is still the biggest name here on the early look, and 2.7 million. It's a $15 stock. It's done 12 million on the day. That's not nearly as big as it was before. Would like to see something come out of nowhere. Maybe one of the chip names could come into play in the next couple of minutes here. Rivian Millionaire just saying, you bought some VTV. Ooh, yes. You bought some of the value ETF. Well, you pick your points. I think like 4 or 5 of them got mentioned for the value ETFs. VTV was the Vanguard one that I just sort of said, but there was like 3 or 4 that we were talking about there. So yeah, good luck. I'm obviously, like a lot of other things, those ETFs are all at the high. There was one of those value ETFs that wasn't at the high. I don't remember which one it was, Sean, but all the other ones were at the highs. I'd be skeptical. Like, whichever one of it wasn't at the highs is the one I probably wouldn't want, to be honest with you. Right. But yeah, most of these were at the highs. So whichever it was, if I see 4 or 5 ETFs that should be about the same thing and one is underperforming, you can maybe find a reason in there that you like the stock that's underperforming in it, but then why wouldn't you just buy that one stock and then buy the better ETF? It doesn't really matter. So I like VTV as well. Obviously, a lot of things are at these tops, and you can get a little bit of a consolidative type day when you get to those highs. That's exactly what happened here. So it's up like 1%, but a very consolidative day at the top, which is nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you have to settle down for a day or two after we get those big moves.
All right, so with only a minute left here, less than a minute left, we have Palantir is right at these levels. So we're just going to wait to see. We'll probably get stopped out if it goes back up, but this is what we're waiting for now with only 20 seconds left. We're going to wait to see what winds up happening. Just a quick check. We got out of Google at 65.74, so that was a good fill there. And here's the trade that we have on board. Palantir looks like wants to get going here with only 10 seconds now left. It's probably going to be a buy. I mean, tomorrow Palantir is a huge buy. So wouldn't be surprised if they get some of this done now. Could also come and sell. I have no idea. This is why it's very, very, why it's very, very dangerous. Nvidia's a 5 million sell. Apple's a sell. AVGO's a sell. Everything seems to be a sell right now, and that goes downside for Google. So there goes Google, nicely moving down right now. Nvidia, whoop. Downside move there as well. But the only thing of my concern is Palantir, and it's not moving at all. So Intel with the sell side, everything with the sell side, Apple with the sell side. So they're selling it all down right now. Looks like it's going to be a big sell. There it is, the market, 2.6 with a B to sell right now. Mag 7, just 700 to sell, but nice move to the downside right now for some of these top Mag 7 or I guess big tech names.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, Intel's not a big deal, but Apple and Nvidia leading the way, and Broadcom is the other one. 1.9 million to the sell side for Broadcom. Actually, AMD is also a sell of 1 million down in here. So it's a couple of big cap tech names, a couple of, 3 of them, 4 of them, check that. I guess you still include Intel, are going to be specifically chip names. But no Palantir, no Dell. So we'll have to wait till tomorrow. Every now and then, we've seen this before, like the day before, sometimes you get a little bit of action. That's why I was looking at Palantir, when if you just went to Old Faithful, you might have been able to, I don't know, by the time I flipped to Nvidia, it's impossible for me to tell you what kind of price you could have gotten because I wasn't actually looking at the level 2 at the time. Maybe there was a trade in there in that first little push, but to get that initial trade, that's the stock you want to have already up on the level 2 if you want to try to catch it. When the number hits, the algo's just absolutely, they're going to crush it. They're piped in directly, and they're going to hit it right away. So Nvidia moving into the downside. There was a question about why did the market why did the market rebound even though we sold off yesterday? So the thing about Fed days, and it's just a pattern. I'm not going to tell you that it's some kind of a rule. But oftentimes, if we go one way and don't break out the top, and then Powell hits the podium, oftentimes, if you don't break out the top, you'll see a reversal. And I think a lot of people were in it's a panic that we got the 50 basis points, and maybe that's a little bit of that. Who knows? You could probably say it's just a little bit of a trepidation. We couldn't break out that top, and the market got spooked by the 50 basis points, what it could mean for the overall economy. Then everyone woke up the next morning and realized tech stocks are great, and we're getting those cuts, and they're making a bunch of money. Let's take out the top. And once you were gapped above, who cared at that point? I look at Nvidia here. It's like once you were gapped above, we said this about those highs. Once you were back above here, it's like that's the all clear. Like I would have been worried if Nvidia was losing yesterday's exuberant highs, the same place it sold off. But no, if they're buying it right back up over those prices, good to go. And it's the same thing with AMD. Like AMD spent about 5 minutes retesting the previous highs, then broke out the top and just continued to trend higher. So, you know, sometimes you try to come up with an explanation for things, and oftentimes it's just better to follow the pattern. If they like the prices above the tops on the rate cut, then I like the long. If they like the prices beneath it, then I would have liked the short. And I try to keep it as simple as that. I love those over-under plays. Well, you know the level you're looking at, and all it has to do is, like, if it's holding above, I'm going long AMD. If it's holding underneath, there's probably a few names I would have liked better to the short side, maybe not AMD, but the ones that were underneath are the things that we're looking short. Example, obviously we didn't get Intel at 2070, but just because I messed it up doesn't mean it's not the right principle. 2070 was 2 days in a row the top. It was the top on the rate cut. And so this is one that couldn't break out the top. So until proven otherwise, Intel's still a short to that level. If it joins the party, then it can be a long too. But until then, Mr. Gelsinger, it's a short.
Mr. Gelsinger.
Nothing against it.
Okay, so we did get out a little bit there of Palantir, actually half of it at 75s. So, I mean, not great. We were short 72s. We take a 3-cent hit there, but we still have half if it goes up to the upside. I was just kind of just waiting here to see if it goes. Breaking through 85, we'll get out of the last little bit. But I want to see closure on the last bit of this trade. And it looks like we're getting it and not in the right way. So we'll wait to see where we get that fill. And there it goes. We are now out of that. So we'll slap a last little fail on it, although it's not really a fail. But we did give back. And at the end of the day there, I should probably double check, but we don't wind up giving back as much as we thought because we were able to get, of course, that last second fill there. So far so good with only 5 minutes left. Let's go back over and have a quick look at an Apple or something because we are going to get a flip up. Then I got to go over to the desk on the imbalances. So there's 355 and change. Right now, it doesn't look like Apple really wants to do anything. Amazon, I don't know what that was before, but it's now a buy. So that could be something that we look into.
It wasn't there.
Was not there before? Okay, so there's a huge buy there. We liked Amazon today, especially at these levels. We'll see about it tomorrow, man. I mean, I wrote down here 190. So Amazon, a little bit of back and forth. We talked about that during the day, but Amazon right now wants to end the day near its highs. Let's just double check on everything that we traded here today. So Google, I mean, too bad that we were talking about Google falling down. I mean, congratulations, anybody that has that, including ourselves. We had this trade. We just got out of it. And sometimes, again, we talk about this, man. Sometimes the imbalances are your friend. Sometimes they are not. And right there, Google it just would have worked with us because it was a major selling event there on those imbalances. So, yeah, man, good for you, Google. A nice move down there. Palantir, of course. Should have been a little bit smarter, understanding the day, the time, and that these imbalances with tomorrow being an ad for Palantir. So I won't be that upset about it. We'll finish the day fine, but we shouldn't have given that back. We should have been a little more diligent on what we were doing. But a good short on Apple, Amazon. Mara ends the day. I mean, come on. We only had shorts in Mara, man. We only had shorts. But once it went up, we got out. We had to get out of that one. Once it broke through 16, we had talked about that, only for it to do what it's doing right now. It looks pretty funny there for Mara as it continues a little bit of a push lower there. So, yeah, man, good day overall. I'm going to flip over and get ready to go for the after show.
Mara was the right one to short, regardless of outcome. MSTR is up 9%. Bitcoin held the highs. Mara is at the low of the day. The best you can do is be short the weak stocks and be long the strong ones at the end of the day. If you do that alone, pick the right things to be in, then in the long run, regardless of what happens, like once or twice in there, then you're going to be absolutely fine. So Mara was the right one to be short. I wish I was in it short because that was I don't know, there's probably something else. Like, it's probably some crappy stock that was a better short, but I think that was the one today. MSTR did pull back before we have 3 minutes to go until the close here. As I say all that about MSTR being up 9%, it was up double digits. Like, this thing got to $149. It was up 16.5. So it's about, what, that's like 12.5%, I think, at peak was MSTR. So big mover. There's I see a lot of people in the chat there. We got a few questions in there. I don't know if Ford will drop tomorrow. And Lucian and Taz, I will not be buying DJT. But I can tell you that when I got out of it, it did not flush at the close. So good for DJT. I got in. I was risking about 12 cents, but it didn't move. I ended up getting out for a penny a couple times there. So just sideways action. Oddly enough, it manages to hold on to pretty much, whoops, I zoomed out too far there. it holds the line. If you look at the bottom at the open, kind of just chilling out there. So still underneath, but overall didn't really fall apart. So I know the lockup expired, but that doesn't mean it has to flush $1 million or anything in one day, or just go all the way to zero. Things aren't necessarily that dramatic with this. I think we're pretty lucky there. Well, I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, if Amazon does go back up to the high, I don't want it at that point. Probably meant there was a buy and balance. And when it flipped to a buy and balance, you saw it retest, but the exact same top. So it goes right into the previous high where we were shorting it before. So clearly 190 should be a level tomorrow on Amazon, one direction or the other. Like I'm ambiguous. I kind of don't care about the direction on stocks like this. If it's above 190 strong, underneath it, we'll short it just like we did today. So with 1 minute to go aftermarket, you've got FedEx. They're going to be the biggest earnings name. Obviously, Lennar, the home builder, is going to be out there as well. We'll have Danielle Shay. We'll have Sean as well. DVD, will we sell tomorrow? We're going to find out. I think at the close, there's probably going to be a dip, and that has mostly to do with big cap tech names likely being down-weighted. I'm feeling like at the end of the day, you're likely to get a bit of a sell-off. But when you have a strong upward day, I want to first thing when I sit down is look for a continuation in the strongest names that I like the best. And then the names like the Intels and the Maras and the DJTs, look there for the shorts, maybe even adding a firm to that just based on what I saw in the afternoon. But yep, it's about time. We got to drop that countdown. Day after the Fed, second last day of the quarter. Brought to you by Firefly Neuroscience. The closing bell in Adara. Ring it in 2 and 1. Big shout out to Firefly Neurosciences. Brain health is so incredibly important. We think it's fantastic what they do. It's always good if you can make money and they have a business that actually changes the world in a positive way. Well, speaking of a positive way, the market ending up in a positive way, to be sure, everybody. The NASDAQ, I mean, it doesn't hold 3% to the upside, but if you're complaining about 2.5%, then you don't like up markets. The ES, 1.7% to the upside. I mean, AMD with a huge day. Nvidia had a good day. Tesla absolutely took the cake. I think if you're looking at what was the most impressive run, I feel like the 7% that Tesla put in there and the way in which it did it, breaking out that 35, it definitely stands out. Bit of a miss not to have that break, but a lot of people did. So shout out to you that did. Shout out to Fabian and Ramin on the ones and twos. And look, on the midday today, we had Obi and Adara. And Obi, as he always does, filling in absolutely seamlessly, whether he's filling in for myself or filling in for Sean or filling in for Sharif or Adara, he kills it pretty much every single time that he's on the desk. So we want to give a big shout out and thank you to him. But you know what the best part about all of this is? We don't have to go anywhere yet. All you got to do is sit back and relax because, as I said, you've got some earnings, you have Sean, you've got special guests, like we always do, although she will be gone. So make sure you get your fill of Danielle Shay today. Ask her all the questions you like on some options. We got the market recap, and we got it about now.
What's up, everybody? Isn't there normally like a throw to the market recap or like a little bumper page there? Welcome, everybody. There we go. Yeah, we're going to adjust the camera. I like... Thanks, Fabian. Now I feel better. You can see, welcome to the Market Recap Show, everybody. We switched seats, man. We just walked 20 feet. We come over here. And get my water bottle out of the way here. Get that out of here. Thank you for joining again. Wow, what a day in the markets. It's going to be interesting to talk to Danielle about this. But I would say we're surprised, but I'm not. We talked about this yesterday in what we were thinking the market could do today. And it looks like we are going to be right about that. I do have the earnings in my ear right now. So if FedEx does come out, we'll have that for you ASAP. But today might have been an Apple day. It might have been a Tesla day. There might have been a lot of names that we talked about DRI with the news from Uber with earnings there as well. But we're going to get all these numbers as they come through right now. Something about Google I'm hearing a little bit from the DOJ. We'll see there's anything happening right now. This is a daily chart for Google, 15 minutes. Let's change that and get a 1 minute chart up to see if there's anything happening. No, there is not. Google, the most disappointing stock for me today. I thought this is like the only stock that we're red on. I thought Google would be a nice bid through today, but it was not. It started the day nice, ended the day not so much, moved to the downside, and we actually shorted this play. We were short right there, 162 to the downside. FedEx is now out, $3.60. Uh-oh, bye-bye FedEx, 10% to the downside. There goes FedEx right now. It is a downside move. FDX, $4.80 was expected. Oh no, they only report 360. We'll get those numbers exactly. Diluted EPS of 321, adjusted EPS of 360. So I'm seeing that they wanted 4 and change. FedEx downside move right now. Here it is on Benzinga, right there, 321, 360. The number that I had again was an estimate of 482. So they missed by a lot. So there's 360 versus 480, a miss on revenue, not good. Bye-bye FedEx. What's his brethren doing? UPS. Bye-bye. That was nice knowing you. What's Amazon doing as well? Amazon now taking in a little bit of their own shipping. As we know there, a lot of these trucks, self-employed, different organizations, not just shipping things through UPS or FedEx anymore. So I thought Amazon could be doing something wrong. It's FedEx, and it is gulp downside right now. Hey, what's up, Randy? Is that Randy in the chat? How you doing, my guy? We do miss you, of course. Randy in the chat, taking a couple days off. Hopefully we'll see you next week. Be well, my good friend, Mr. Randy in the chat. And yeah, I do need a coffee. It's funny, Rob asked in the chat, and I was like, yeah, no coffee came. All right, so Randy's here? Oh, there he is on the screen. What's up, Randy? Right now, yeah, he's not here. All right, so there it is, a nice move down. Look where FedEx just went to, guys. That's the 200 period right there, right now. 267, 265. We're starting to break below the 200 period moving average now for FedEx. Disaster strikes for this name. What I'm seeing right now, and again, it's off the Benzinga Pro platform. We will wait for Lennar to come through, but there it is right here. It is lower after the company reported worse than expected Q1. When's the last time we were on the show, honestly? And I'll try to zoom in a little bit here for you. There it is, miss 360, miss again on the number. So top and bottom line all missed. We have a couple news stories that just popped in there. We'll zoom back out and we'll get for you. The only other stock that we're looking for right now is LEN, which would be Lennar. They're not, although looks like it's trying to be out, but it's not out. I do not see Lennar being out yet. When it is, I will get to that. But what a day it was, man. The NASDAQ, when's the last time it held above 3%? Not today is the answer. Nice close for the NASDAQ if you're a bear. We talked about maybe fading that 3%. Looks like that worked. Nice downside move there for the Qs now into the close. But what a day it was for them. Breaking up a little island right there. Will we take this tomorrow, 485 on the NASDAQ? I say, we could have a flat day. That's going to be my call tomorrow as everybody gets ready for the action at the close with the, I'm just reading the forecast here with options coming due tomorrow on the rebalancing. Okay, so FedEx right now, they are seeing 425 revenue forecast, low to single digit growth right now. So I guess that's not great. We'll figure that out for FedEx. That's actually green, so maybe that's a little bit better on their guide. So yeah, so nice little bounce back for FedEx. Now 270, 271. But look where it bounced off, everybody. That's your 50 period moving average right there, 267. So, or 200 period. So a nice bounce there for them. Look, interest sensitive names. KRE right now, regional banks, bang, upside right now today. Good move for KRE. Good news for the tech names, right? Not just the Qs. Look at XLK, upside as well, trying to go. How about no matter where you are today, I feel like it was a safe one. Look at USO today, up 3%. Nice move there for oil as they're starting to go back up. We'll talk about supply more and more with oil coming into play. They have to refill the SPR. We know that oil is going to be an interesting one. We like XLE, just like my friend Andrew Rader was talking about as well. XLE, nice upside move back to the 200 period. But we could talk about everything green today. I mean, look at these charts right here. Let's have a bigger look at this. XME, right? The mining names. We had Rahim Alani on today. Mining names upside. What was down then today? TAN was down. So again, I don't like until we get it, I looked at the odds right now, and don't at me for this, but Kamala Harris and the Democrats are now minus 140 on betting sites. That's a pretty decent favorite to win the election. But again, that's like polls, man. Polls lie. We don't have to wait to see what winds up happening. Tan could be interesting depending on who gets in. Now, I don't know. I'm kind of over that trade right now and stop talking about election. Election right now is 40-something days away. We'll wait for November 5th and we'll react then. It's just like Fed. We know the interest rate cut cycle is a positive one. Brendan had that chart up yesterday whereby it was showing, and if we, I should have grabbed that from him, but if we show that moving forward, you'll see there's positive returns moving forward based on rate cuts, okay? The rate cut cycle starting, okay? There's wheat, XLP downside there as some of the sectors come back in a little bit. Consumer staples getting to some downside push. Again, if everything's going to go back up, some of these sectors that have been really hot could start to fade a little bit. Watch out for that. TLT again. We just highlighted this the other day with Brian. It was at highs. That's pulling back. No surprise there. And I think utilities need to be bought again. And we don't chase yield as much anymore, right? But utilities, very strong name, could be bought back there if you're looking at ETFs. I kind of like it. Nothing red today, man. XLF, bank names. I'm not going to live this one down. I looked over. We had Obi on the show when JP Morgan was down to 200 flat there. And I was like, this is probably a buy on JP Morgan. And he's like, well, did you do it? I was like, no. Nice move back up there, man. 210 for JP. I'm still in the name, but not in it heavy enough. JP Morgan with a nice move up. How could we talk about this without talking about Tesla today? What a banger of a day for JP, for Tesla. Up 8%. Elon Musk, man, your net worth just went from $250 billion up a little bit higher than that now, up to $245 now goes Tesla. And what a trade that was. Hey, man, I mean, the thing about it, we don't have this trade. I thought I was looking like a little more serious there, but I got a little bit of a smile right there. Oh, what's up to Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers? Tonight, Shohei is, can you believe this? Or no, I had to retweet this. He has played 864 games in Major League Baseball, the most among all active players without a playoff appearance. Not only is he the best player in Major League Baseball, but now he gets to taste a little bit. First of all, $700 million, good decision to go to the Dodgers, but also a winning organization. So congratulations to that one and Shohei Ohtani. But it was this missed opportunity right there. Tesla written on the sticky note today to break through 235. I completely missed that. We talk all about it. It was a trade that I really liked. So let's just break that down. Not that long for me to break this one down. It's 235. It's right here. The minute we started going to the upside there, I really liked it. We don't need any more earnings, so we get this out of my ear. Nice move to the upside, 234, 235. That break continued to go. I think Tesla slows down a little bit, but not till 250, 255, 260 up into here. Tesla making its way all the way back up. I mean, good stock, right? But if you're going to look at this from a weekly standpoint on Tesla, let's do that real quick. A lot more room to go, man. You're not even close to anywhere near 400 yet. So whether or not Tesla gets there, I don't know. We actually had a warning today from Mercedes-Benz that came out. I actually don't even know their ADR. But a lot of other names are starting to go to the downside, right? Ford's not looking good. That's where this is on the weekly. Actually looking pretty bad right now that I look at it on the weekly chart, well underneath everything. GM's had a little bit of a better move back above everything, but you still see $60, a nice spot there for GM as well. Let me just take a look back. Let me put a daily chart on this and have a quick look at Rivian to see what's going on with that name. This is a name that I'm in as well, a little bit lower though. I'm in at 11.25 for Rivian. We did sell some at 18 and people are like, how are you selling at 18? Well, I mean, sometimes you make the right decisions, most of the time the wrong ones, but there's Rivian right now trying to hold. Oh boy, just like Tesla was the other way around. How good does Rivian look right here on that break lower? If I had Neil's iPad right now, I'd be writing on it, but we'll just keep this in our head. 1275. Ooh boy, Rivian. Let's go. This is a good break spot to the downside for Rivian. Little nervous because of the short float of 15.8%, but I still think Rivian gets a little bit lower. Nice day for FXI today as a lot of the Chinese names start to get back up to the upside. Key indicator, man, watch the Hang Seng, watch some of the markets overnight. Should indicate good movements back in on some of these ETFs. Have FXI starting to go back up to the upside, that is for sure. Yeah, good good movement today. Not much really to talk about. SPY, there's lots to talk about, but as far as markets are concerned, S&P 500 all-time highs. Bang, we nailed that one. GLD, nice move back up to the upside for gold today. We thought a little bit yesterday. We had that dip down on Fed there, but gold says no thank you. We're still going higher. Gold, I think Danielle probably will agree with me on this one. Gold is really just a play against the weaker dollar right now. So as gold continues to go up, it's a hedge against the DXY. You know what? Does Michael Noss and company know they do not have the DXY? So I guess we could just look at UUP would be a good, okay. I always say this, not just a handsome face, so I'm not just that either, but we do know a little bit about the markets. UUP with a nice downside push there. So as gold starts to go higher, the US dollar is starting to go lower. So I believe there's a little bit of a hedge on for that. We had Brian Shannon on and he said that, hey, look, normally the yen versus US dollar, he showed the inverse there with the market. So what the textbooks say are not always what we need to be looking at, right? RSP, relative strength. ETF. This is the S&P 500 relative strength ETF. That's breaking out to all-time highs. So this just goes to show you, it's not just the Mag 7, it's not just those other names. I see Danielle in the waiting room there. And oh man, I'm never going to live this one down because dear, honestly, oh dear. This was down at 350 a couple times, man. She told me that she really likes it. I believe I was talking to her about this here, about this here, about this here, about... Oh, come on, man. Dear, nice call by Miss Shay on that one as that continues to go higher, as does Caterpillar. The industrials, that's XLI, I believe. Look at the industrials right now. Hey, if we are getting a turnaround in the economy and we're going to avoid the recession, then of course, man, Caterpillar and Deere, a lot of money being made with these companies over there in China as well. As that trade continues to go higher, so do those names. So great look there for Danielle on that. There's a few names I want to talk about with her, but before we do that, let me just quickly go over some of the hot names today in the market. So if we can just show, good, perfectly, thank you for that one. Look at Nvidia, 4% today. Apple, 4%. Microsoft, $1.83. Google, 1.43%. Oh my. Danielle for sure talked about Microsoft, but I know we've been on the Meta train as well. That's up another 4%. 560 for Meta. Are you kidding me? What a name that's been. Amazon upside. Walmart downside. Okay, Walmart, I see you. Costco up 0.92 as well. We talked about the consumer staples, non-durables today. Procter down, Coke down, which is a little bit of a surprise. I saw Berkshire somewhere here. I believe they were roughly flat today. Berkshire trying to hold out. So just a couple names there. Let me just get rid of this and look at Berkshire real quick. This was a name that I wanted to buy on dips, got lazy, and really haven't been doing much dip buying at all lately. We had bought some Amazon, we had bought some Tesla, Palantir, we just keep on holding. But yeah, it looks like Berkshire does bounce off that 50 period right there coming out. Actually, before I get to Danielle, did Lennar come out yet? She's ready. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. I just want to see if Lennar came out. 1 minute. No, it doesn't look like Lennar's doing anything. FedEx coming through as well. FedEx right down to the 200 period. Bounced off that real smooth right? 267. Good hold there for FedEx. Definitely that top back in May. So, all right, we've got some questions for her. She knows I want to talk to her about Netflix maybe. I know she's got something to say about that. It's Trader Talk, and it's my favorite. It's Danielle. Let's go. Hi, Miss Danielle Shay. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I don't know. I look at that Deere chart and I feel a little FOMO on that. I know you and I have talked about that one. Great move there for Deere. Tell me you're still in that name.
Of course. When you look at John Deere, this is a perfect example of something that is just better for long-term investing right now versus trading. Because, if you look at this weekly chart, it's all over the place, right? It's up and then it's down. But the thing is when it's like that, it has that consolidation. So, you have this squeeze, you have the consolidation, it pulled back, it hit the 200 simple, it recovered, and now it's shifting and breaking out to the upside. Now that it's broken out above $400 a share, I think it will head back up on into 450. And then after that, my next upside target's up into 500. But because of the choppiness on the lower time frame, hasn't really been great for trading, but just buying and holding this stock, I think will do wonders in the long term.
Danielle, we just got a big news story here from Nike, NKE, right now. There goes Nike, man. Michael Jordan joining the board. No, that's not true. Right now, longtime Nike veteran Elliott Hill to return as president, and bye-bye current CEO John Donahoe. Gone from Nike. So there you go, man. The activists strike again here. Nice move back up there for Nike. I don't know. I'm not sure if this was ever on your radar, but I guess options are going to go absolutely haywire right now. Up 9%. NKE. Wow. Earnings date October 1st. This was actually something, believe it or not, Danielle, wow, this was something that I had marked down to talk to you about here. You put out some notes, I think, about Nike. Any thoughts here? Nice move back up there to 88. Looks like 10% straight upside.
Well, you know, the news overnight, I mean, you can always get that kind of news. Let me throw my overnight data on with this chart. You can always get this kind of overnight news with stocks like this that have been getting clobbered over the course of, you know, years. And it may seem exciting, but I mean, for me, if you look at this overnight data and you can see that it's trading up into 88, I just look at the higher time frame chart, okay? Yep. The daily chart and the weekly chart, and I say, where is that bringing us to? Because that is what makes all of the difference. If you look at the daily chart, which this one doesn't have the overnight data, that's going to bring you right up into the 200 simple, okay? So that is a critical zone of resistance. And, you know, I would agree that it's a great thing the CEO is on the way out, because look at this stock chart. But for me, unless it can breach up above, I'd say 95 and keep going, you know, it's still in a longer term downtrend. And these luxury brands have just been suffering over the course of the past couple of years.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we saw the big shoot up also, Danielle, with Starbucks, of course, when Brian Nickel came over from CMG Chipotle into Starbucks. We get that nice bump, and they've actually held out pretty well up to that $100 mark. I'm with you on Nike. I actually sold, so I have a little bit FOMO in this. We bought off those dips into the 70s and sold mid 80s. So a nice move there for anybody that is long Nike. But I do agree. Look at this daily chart. Wow, I know you just talked about that, but nice level there, nice level here. And we're right at that right now. I may fade this move tomorrow on NKE. All right, did you see that FedEx move at all? You taught me that, hey, if we get an extension, maybe a little bit more than expected, then this could be a name that we look at tomorrow. FedEx, I had written down, and maybe I'm off, we had written down here about a 7% implied move, 7.1% expected move there for FedEx. Looks like we got a little bit more than that, just over 8. Anything interesting setting up for FedEx? Was this a name that you were in maybe pre-report here today?
Yeah, we can look at FedEx. I want to tell you, though, because I love the Starbucks chart that you pointed out. And the reason why Starbucks was different was because you see how Starbucks broke up above the 200 simple. So that's the purple line on my chart right there. And so that, I mean, for me, is really the line in the sand with Nike. I mean, Starbucks did actually shift the trend at that level. So I don't know. It's still early to say, but I wanted to point out that you were definitely right about that one. So let me take a look here at FedEx. You know, looking at FedEx, it's been kind of all over the place. You know, I don't generally like trading this kind of stuff that's so volatile on the daily chart and the weekly chart, because I mean, even on the daily and the weekly chart, you know, yes, you have been recovering on the weekly chart, but the daily chart is pretty much all over the place, and the earnings moves have been all over the place too. So I actually told our subscribers to stay out of FedEx because it's not in a solid trend. It hasn't been having regular moves higher or lower, and it also hasn't been staying within the regular ranges. So for this one, I think at this point, the only thing to do with it is to say, okay, can you buy it now that it's getting hammered? You know, it's down $30, could be worse, but here again is where the 200 simple comes into play. So you have the 200 simple on the daily chart at 267. If you look at the overnight data, you can see it traded down into 259. So if you want to buy it, I mean, it has got to hold 267. If it can't hold that level, look out below.
Yep. And we actually did hold that level today. So that's exactly as before you came on, FedEx came out, we immediately went into the 200 simple and looked at that. Man, Nike is still on one right now, right back there up to the upside. I do got to apologize to that. I should not have made that joke about Michael Jordan joining the board because Gabe was like, oh my God, I almost bought all these shares based on that news. Don't ever do that. Make sure you do your own due diligence, and I should not have said that. But Nike with a nice upside move right there. Okay, look, Meta's breaking out. Obviously, breaking out. I mean, it looks like it's already done that right there. We got that big candle today, breaking above the daily chart on Meta. I know you made a note. I see it in my notes anyways. You were talking about on either on your channel or maybe on Simpler Trading about Netflix today. Netflix looks primed to do the same thing that Meta just did, in my opinion, looking like it wants to keep on touching this top at 710 and eventually one good story away from breaking out above the 200 simple, above the 50 period moving average. What were those words that you were speaking on Netflix?
So the patterns are pretty similar between Meta and Netflix. And when you're looking at the way that Meta has already broken out, that's exactly what I'm looking for in Netflix. So just taking a look first at Meta just to see, what was the pattern here? What was it that I was seeing? I mean, it really just has to do with the fact that it had relative strength. When you're looking at the Magnificent Seven stocks, it was the closest in proximity to the previous high. You had this beautiful pullback into the 50 simple. You had consolidation that was shifting. It went first lower, but then the momentum shifted higher. And you could also see that in volume as well. So whenever you have incoming volume, when a stock comes down into a critical support zone, that's when it can really just break out. And so we're seeing that happen with Meta. Meta's now made my 560 price target. And that's exactly what I'm looking for with Netflix. I mean, the pattern is pretty much the same. It was just below that previous high. It pulled back into the 50 simple. It's one of my favorite spots to buy.
Yep.
It had consolidation. It had incoming volume. And so, this one has already made it all the way up to 715, but my next target on it is going to be 725.
Danielle, we got a question, 725. I like that. I mean, I can't believe we have a 7 handle on Netflix, to be honest with you. I mean, I remember when this name was really, you don't even have to go that far back into the weekly chart there and see what happened to these guys down there. That's April of 2022. Oh no, look at this clip. Danielle, oh no. So we've already been up here and then all of a sudden it was like round to the downside right at these exact levels right now. So for me, if I'm looking at this may be a trim spot, but I do like it. Times have changed. This is not 2022 as we enter the rate cut cycle. I assume that you weren't trading too much yesterday afternoon, just kind of watching everything as it goes. I assume that the volatility there in options and some of the pricing was probably way too jacked up there to make any moves. But did you do anything today?
So when you're looking at today, I mean, I think today was all about buying. The main thing that I wanted to see after this Fed announcement was I wanted to see a follow through day. Okay. And today we got that follow through day. We got especially one signal that I love is the break up above the 50 simple in the NASDAQ and SMH. And so over the course of the last month, I mean, I've really been eyeing those charts on the daily chart because, you want to see those primary tickers get above those major resistance zones. And so I've been coming in and I've been buying stock throughout this time.
Right.
And this is really the confirmation that you want to see. You want to see that break up above there in SMH. If you look at the NASDAQ futures, you want to see that break up above. That's what we got today. So, the ones that I've been focusing on primarily have been Microsoft, Amazon, Netflix, and Meta. And if you look at especially Microsoft and Amazon on the weekly chart patterns, these just look absolutely beautiful.
We love beautiful things around here, especially those stocks. I mean, my portfolios, the problem with me is I actually have a lot of Google, which does not look so beautiful, not like those other names. Look, Danielle, we have one quick question for you from someone in the chat. And they just wanted to know, if they were just trying to get into options for the first time, are there any resources that you can recommend? Where should we start? Simulation accounts or anything like that? I'm sure you get this question all the time, but if I was a newbie into options, what are some of the basics that I need to know and maybe where can I start?
Oh, definitely. Well, I have a lot of free stuff on my YouTube channel, so I can go ahead and pull that up for you.
Sure.
I definitely always start out with the free stuff, when you're trying to learn. gotta make sure that you're starting out in a way so that you can do so in a responsible financial manner, right? So start off with that stuff. And then what you basically want to do is at some point, you're going to need some classes. And so you want to know, what is it do you want to learn and what do you want to focus on? And so for me personally, when I started out, I started trading credit spreads. I found that to be really low risk, is something where you only have to risk, $100 for a trade if you want. And so I actually started out taking classes on credit spreads, and then I also paper traded. So I paper traded for 2 years, and people say that is crazy. How did you have the patience to do that?
Right.
But the thing is that with options trading, you don't want to lose money when you're trying to figure out how a spread works. That's just silly, and it takes time to learn. So if you can take classes and you can figure out how the strategies work while you're risking monopoly money, that means that when you start using real money, you're going to be able to stay in the game longer. So that's always what I recommend to people.
Great ideas there, and definitely check out your YouTube page. All right, we just got a super chat from Ian Rispetto. You want to look at one more name with me?
Sure.
All right, Micron. I'll give you a second to load that up. Micron reports next week, MU, coming in on September the 25th, coming in next week. Next week, Wednesday, I believe, we'll find out what happens with Micron. I've really, for my own personal opinion here, I don't like the name. I mean, I think that you and I are going to jive on this. But yeah, under the 200, under the 50. And really, if you're going to trade names in the semi space, I'm with you, man. I would rather look at SMH. I would rather look at the king of the hill there with Nvidia. I love some Broadcom in this space. I don't know enough about DRAM to say that Micron's going to bounce back from this. But for me, it's looking like it wants to flat bottom break itself right back down here through 85. Would this be something that gets your interest heading into earnings next week from an option standpoint?
So whenever I'm looking at something going into earnings, it has got to be something that's in a bullish trend. Like you pointed out, it's broken down below the 50, the 100, and 200. So once it's below the 200, it's kind of dead to me. It could potentially rally back up into the 200, kind of like we talked about with Nike. But the thing is that unless it gets up above that zone after earnings, it's in a downward trend. So right. I'm not going to focus on something, especially because last quarter, it had an earnings reversal. So it was down 4.6% last quarter. And that was kind of the event that gave it the kick in the can. So this one, I think, has to be on the back burner for me unless something substantially changes. And if it does happen to have an earnings turnaround and it breaks up above 100 and then it breaks up above 115, I'll be interested to the upside. But until then, down she goes.
So generally, you won't go short. Like, you're only looking for bullish cases into earnings. You don't really look at, bear cases, or that doesn't really matter to you. You'll just play the trend.
So it completely depends on what the market is doing. Okay. I mean, if the market overall is strong, then I generally focus on relative strength to the upside. If it's one of those quarters where, everything's falling apart and people are panicking going into earnings, that's when I absolutely will look for the stocks that I call earnings destruction, where they basically have 1 tequila, 2 tequila, possibly 3 tequila floor.
Yeah.
So that's when you've had, 2 bad earnings reports in a row, a shift in a trend where if you have the third one, it could just, the bottom drops out of it. So I will look for those, but I just find in general, I want to stick with the trend of the market. So if the NASDAQ's hot, sticking with the hot NASDAQ plays to the upside that have done well the past few quarters. And if the NASDAQ's falling apart, then look for the weakness names that you can get a 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila floor on it.
I have a feeling that next time you're able to travel and come up here to Toronto, we'll have some tequila ready to go for you. And on that note, this is a little bit of a sad opportunity for all of us viewers here, because I believe this is going to be the last time for a while that we see Miss Danielle Shay here at Trader TV Live. Am I correct with that statement?
So I'm going to be here. I'm here today.
Yes.
I have, I think, 2 more sessions with you before I have the baby.
Perfect.
Well, unless the baby comes earlier, but I think I have you 2 more times before I have the baby.
My daughter was, I don't know if I should tell you this, but 5.5 weeks early. So,
then, if that happens, then it will be the last time.
Okay, good. Okay. Well, then let's keep our fingers crossed everything goes routinely. I hope to see you again soon. If not, best of luck with everything. Thank you for everything that you've done for the community as far as options are concerned and the show and all of your knowledge coming through every single day. You're definitely reliable and the fans love you. We love you here. So best of luck with everything. But I'm not going to get all like this because I am going to see you next week. So Miss Danielle Shay, I hope everybody checks you out over there at Trader Danielle on X. You just showed your YouTube page. What a great resource that is as well. Thanks for everything. And we will see you next week, Miss Danielle Shay.
Bye.
Ciao. All right. That's Trader Talk. I don't stay late for many, but for Danielle, we will. So there it is. It is 4:32. I got to pick my kid up at chess tonight. But guess what? That's not till 8 o'clock. So I'm going to go home. We've got this nice little Italian bakery I'm going to go to. We're going to pick up some fresh pasta. We're going to pick up some arancini. We're going to celebrate what was a beautiful day in the market. NASDAQ blasted off. We had Danielle Shay. We had Neil Roberts. We have Fabian staying late, my guy over there. We want to say a big thank you to Obi for everything that he did. Filled in for the sick one, Sharif. Hopefully he's back tomorrow. We've got Adara. We've got... That's my desk I'm pointing at. Neil, Ramin, who am I missing? Andre, Mark, Rob, Randy, who had an appearance in the chat today as well. Brendo, I'm probably forgetting somebody as all the chairs go in the back there. They're empty, empty, empty. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you to my lovely wife for everything that you do for me as well. For everybody here. Oh, and Bears versus Bulls. Almost forgot my main man over there. Thank you for all those questions and everything. Can't do this without all of you. Man, I feel exhausted, but I'm not really. This is just a lot of talking today. I'm excited to be back tomorrow. We've had a couple banger days. I promise you, tomorrow will be another one for everybody here at Trader TV Live. It's your boy, Sean, and I'll see you tomorrow. Ciao, everybody.